of interesting people. So just get ready. You're gonna get some novels in your comment section on this one.
I'm actually my next video is speaking of novels in my comment section. My next video is going to be about the art style debate that we talked about last week. It's,
Oh,
it's coming
well,
out.
you're gonna get.
It's coming out.
Honestly, I don't think like you're not gonna get a lot of people hating on that. I don't think. I think most people are in agreement that TF2 is a very unique game style wise, and that's what makes it special for the most part. And I think most people would agree that it's important to preserve that. And anyone who doesn't really, and other people, and like anyone else, just either doesn't care. But those who are like actively against that sort of thing are just kind of doing it for the sake of just being contrarian. I find.
I agree. Also, never mind. I found it. I found the problem. Okay, there we go. I could hear myself twice, and I could just hear you talking, and then I could hear you talking in real time, and that I did not know where it was coming from, but I figured it out. Yeah, no, I think there's gonna. I think because I'm gonna try and give basically like a rundown. My goal is to give like a measured response to to give everyone's arguments regarding like team recognition and stuff. To try and soften the blow because so many people seem to see it as a harsh discussion, or one that requires a lot of it's very polarized, or that's how it seems to be seen online. So I want to kind of try and give like both sides of the argument and explain where I stand. Um,
Yeah.
I'm excited to talk about it. After having our discussion last week, as well as just doing some research on my own. I'm excited to talk
Yeah.
about
Here,
it.
I'll ping my Discord as well, just to
Oh,
get
hell
other
yeah!
people.
Thank you, appreciate it. Yep. So we are live. Also, before we start on the video discussion for today, um, for those who have seen them, would you guys like to give your thoughts on the new 2023 winter cosmetics?
I'll let y'all go first because you know me. I have my choice picks,
Yeah,
my choice words, but
I know that Alan has not seen them. So that's a
That's
good.
true. I've only seen the
The
bonk ski merch.
uh
They gave Scout the bonk drip.
they really did. That's actually probably actually before I go do Angel, do you have thoughts?
The unusual scammy, the regular cosmetics are sort of cool. That's pretty much all my thoughts.
I have more. I have a little bit more to say.
Oh,
A tad more to say. I think this is probably the best cosmetic case that we've gotten since in recent yeah, in a long time.
Yeah,
This is
I agree.
this is the most this is a really nice, like there's not a single cosmetic in here that I would consider bad, or certainly not an affront to the game, like some other cosmetics. Yeah,
No, I agree. I think at face value, all of these are are totally fine.
yeah,
I agree.
yeah. My least favorite's the Scout Bonk merch, but I don't think it's overly gaudy. I just think it's a little like it looks a little bit too modern, I think, personally.
Actually, have you seen it in game?
No, I've only seen pictures.
It doesn't look nearly as bad as it does in the little promo shots. Like when I looked at those initially, it looked like it was really overly saturated and super bright. But then I saw it in game. I'm like, oh, okay, it's not that bad.
Yeah. Do you have a picture by chance?
No, but
I'll take your word for it.
no, I don't. Yeah, it's I don't have one, but it's not nearly as bad as I thought it was.
Yeah.
So.
Do you want to give some more thoughts, or?
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree with what you said. I think this is the best cosmetic case that we've received in a very long time. The only contender, I believe, would be Winter 2022, in terms of the wide selection of not only tonally appropriate items for the game, but items that are just genuinely good, of high quality, and I think a lot of people are going to be using these. We didn't get anything. We didn't get tacky shit, which is the thing I'm happy about.
I'm pulling up Winter 2022 for reference.
Yeah, Winter 2022 also had a pretty high volume of
Oh shit.
fairly fitting cosmetics, or actually no, I should say very fitting cosmetics with only a couple of stinkers. You know,
Yeah.
like the like the bulb bonnet and
Yeah.
then another pair of reindeer antlers.
Yeah, I remember this case somewhat fondly. I was indeed playing the game actively at this point. I think there are some things in here that are I don't particularly like the soft hard hat or the bold bonnet. Those would be
Yeah, the soft hard hat's a little silly, but it's not horrible.
yeah. Um, but I think that I think this one's comparable for sure. I still think the newer one is better though, because I don't think it has like a single miss.
Yeah.
It's
absolutely.
really really good.
Yeah, absolutely.
I like to think this is probably because of the amount of people who were talking about how gaudy the last few ones have been. So it's pretty good.
So a little inside information on that. So it's definitely the reason for the player base reacting negatively to older cases. So recently I got a little bit of insight onto the performance of cases. And while I can't give exact numbers because it would violate, NDA agreements.
Yeah.
The Winter 2021 case, which is the one that everyone cites as the worst case in the game, was actually the worst performing case in terms of key sales in the game's history. And I think Valve took note of that and realized, oh, well, if we're going to keep throwing stuff into this game anyways, maybe we should take at least 5 minutes to not pick things people hate. And so they saw that massive tank in key sales and I think started coming around to going back to how things used to be.
Yeah, this is certainly a step in the right direction.
Speak with your wallets.
Yeah, agreed. I would actually consider opening cases, which I never do. For some of these
wallets. Yeah. I mean, if you want to open cases from the standpoint of like showing Valve, hey, this is good, this is what we want. It is a bit lame that you can't like just email them or like just verbally say, hey, this is great, this is what we want.
Yeah.
Right. No, you have to spend money and like, get those key sales up to like let Valve know that, hey, this is what we want.
Yeah, for sure. Also, I'm doing a minor plug here. This will be the only time I say this throughout the podcast, but I'm only saying it because I added it as a thing that we're doing. For at the end of the podcast, if anyone super chats a message or a question, I will try to make sure we get through all of them at the end. So if you want us to respond to something specific that we talk about in the video, that would be the way to do it. I'm just saying that now so I don't have to say it later, and so I don't come off as a shill in the middle of the podcast when I remember that I have to say that. So yeah.
Hey guys, this had conversation's interesting at all, but have I mentioned you can give me money?
No. I'm only mentioning it now, so we don't have to bother with it later.
Guys, I love Spy, but you know what I love more? Money.
No, that's not the point. We're here.
I love playing Team Fortress 2, but here, check out my go get my Gamer Subs cup with my newest flavor, floor tile.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I that might be a reference to something. But I'm not gonna.
Well, like everyone's getting a fucking Gamer Subs subscription recently. It's
really
for, whatever it's called. Sponsorship. Like I'm seeing it left and right. It's wild. I want one because I have the anime character. Can I make that happen? Can I get my own cup?
I've only seen one person, and it was like earlier today. So yeah. Yeah.
Don't all the cups have like anime characters on them? So
yes.
I feel like you'd fit right in.
I know, right? It's like, dude, just make a cup with my character. That would sell like fucking hotcakes, man. I'm not biased, I swear.
I agree.
Is your character OC?
Yes.
Damn. Very nice.
High quality.
Indeed.
But yeah, I think that covers most of what I want to say. Oh, I wanted to say specifically in regards to, I think that when I was looking at this case, something that struck me as really interesting, these cosmetics seem much more grounded in not the time period per se, but like the harshness, I guess, of the time period. So like the blood on the Santa Claus cosmetic, for instance, makes it a little bit more grounded in like this is war, you know, and not to mention all of the pyro cosmetics kind of give that vibe as well.
I love that set so much.
It's a great set. Like a lot of the other ones are just like general sort of like this looks like a character or this looks like a style of clothing that someone would wear at this time, which is fine. But I'm really happy with the one actually Christmas related cosmetic, weirdly enough, and the pyro stuff, because it reflects that. So the aesthetic that TF2 has as a war game, which I think is really cool.
Yeah, it reflects the tones, the themes, and the stylization of the game. It hits all those tick boxes.
Yep, it's great. Absolutely. But yeah. Okay. Without any further ado, I guess we can start with the video we're covering today.
Yes.
I'm excited. I have skimmed through the video briefly to talk about like what to cover it, because I try to do that whenever we pick out videos for this this show. Try to skim through them briefly to make sure that they are coverable, and I think that this video fits the bill. This is a video by FishStickOnAStick about about Spy, and Spy's place in balance conversations. How good is he? How bad is he? You guys want to give some thoughts on that?
So my question I have for all of you is, what do you know about FishStickOnAStick? Do you know that he is a sniper main?
Yes, I do know that he is I do know that, yes.
Okay, so because I think that I've seen this video, and not to poison the well, but that bias certainly seems to leak out quite a bit in this balance discussion. We'll see it as it comes, but
yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. I've never watched any of his things. This is the first video I've seen, but I did watch it already, so.
I've been a subscriber of his for a while, and I have seen his video about Sniper. I think that he has some good ideas. I haven't analyzed his stuff to the same degree that I have certain other content creators, and but I remember that there have been some like rebalancing things in his Bad Weapon Academy series that are some good ideas and some bad ideas. And yeah, I'm interested to hear. And also, I don't think that his fix to Sniper in his Sniper rebalancing video really covers the problem.
No, it doesn't.
Personally, because if I remember correctly, it basically just said we just need to make it where his ammo is more of an issue, or more of an issue for the Sniper player. And while I do think that would help, I don't think it covers really the issue. Yeah.
Agreed.
That's my general overview of this before we keep going. But yeah, so we can get going. You guys all ready? We good?
Yeah, dive in.
Yes, sir.
Videos like these are made possible by viewers like you, who support the channel through Patreon, channel memberships, and stream donations.
Yes.
Don't forget to check out the Bad Weapon Rehabilitation servers at www.badweaponrehab.com.
Would his waifu cup just be a fish?
Yeah, you're like a fish with tits.
Oh, that exists. Wait. Oh gosh, that's in like a popular thing. Alan, help me out. You'd know.
Oh, Sharktail.
No. Oh, no. That is actually what I'm thinking of. Unironically, that's what that reminds me of. It is Sharktail.
Oh no.
Oh gosh.
Hab.tf. Check the links in the description for more information, and let's get into the video. I feel like Spy is really a love him or hate him kind of class, which is to say the people who play him love him, and the people who don't hate him for one reason or
Do you guys agree?
I think it's a bit. I mean, it's funny because with how the edit here, it's like intentionally polarizing. It's like, oh, if you main him, it's fun, but then if you don't, you hate him. It's like I disagree with that. Just out of the gate, it's a little, again, a very polarizing statement to make within the opening 10 seconds of your video.
Yeah, I think that this is only true on YouTube specifically. where people are kind of incentivized to be more hyperbolic about spy, or just in general. I don't know if I would necessarily agree that. I think a lot of people are just like. I think there's a third category if you're really wanting to be polarizing about it, and that's just people who think that spy is just like awful, and so awful that he's a non-factor in most situations. Which is the category I happen to fall into. Every time I see a spy main or a spy on the opposite team, I'm just like, I just forget that he exists, and that isn't usually taken advantage of because most spies are just bad at the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it is kind of black and white in that you either have a spy who is a major problem, or it just doesn't exist. It's a non-factor.
Yeah, well, I think it's even more simple than that. I think it's you're either aware of the spy or you're not. And once the spy makes his presence known, then you're always going to be aware of him no matter how good he is, right? Because now you're going to check.
Yeah.
And that invalidates his presence.
Yeah. I think going forward, the biggest issue that I'm going to have in terms of balancing spy is how do you make him fun to fight against and fun to fight. Like how do you not make him like overly obnoxious, but also because here's the thing, the spy checking, it just invalidates him in most situations, and when it doesn't, then communication does, which are like two things that you should always be having anyway if you're playing with a team that's somewhat competent. So it's kind of hard.
Yeah, he gets into it later, I think, and I think he hints on the main reason as to why spy becomes obnoxious. We'll get to that later in the video, I think.
Yeah.
Or another. Though I'm sure even the people who play him have their days where they end up wishing they made something else. Spy is such an interesting class to talk about, and a big part of that is because, objectively, spy is the weakest class in the entire game.
I love to use the word objectively. I hope he qualifies that. But why is sniper B tier on this tier list?
In terms of weakest?
No, just in terms of, because this is a tier list of like these are the best. This is a class tier list.
Oh yeah, see, I find this odd. I'm not sure what this tier list is based on. Is it based on their efficacy? Is it based on how weak they are in terms of their squishiness? Or I don't know.
I think it's like must picks. It's like words are hard, man.
Yeah, because it looks, yeah, I'm seeing someone in your chat say it looks like a competitive class tier list because, of course, you have the meta 4, and then you have the most common 2 picks, and then the other 3 that are never played.
I agree. So. If this is competitive, this is probably correct.
Yeah, which means it does not hold weight over how the rest of the people play the game, and therefore the entire video is invalid.
Yeah, well,
we can stop there.
This is invalid in reference to the entire video.
Yeah,
like this what we're seeing right on screen. This is not indicative of. Yeah.
Podcast over, guys. Let's go.
Yeah,
but no, I think we can pick on you know, I at least personally I agree, at least in the vanilla game. It's a safe statement to say that spy is definitely the weakest in terms of how squishy he is and how often he can be invalidated before he can have an impact.
Yeah, I would agree. Although I don't. A lot of people I think hyperbolize how bad spy is. I don't think he's so bad that you should. He's about to make a statement that I think is that was the one that made me like really want to choose this video because I think it's ridiculous.
Let's get to it.
Yeah.
More than pyro, more than heavy, spy is the weakest. See, some classes are so powerful in so many situations that not running them could be considered an active detriment to your team. But for spy, I honestly struggle to think of game modes or scenarios where this is the case.
This is the
Yeah.
one. I think this is ridiculous.
Yeah, I think that's a ridiculous statement. I can think of many scenarios where you want to run spy when you have an overly oppressive sniper, when you have a sentry nest you can't crack. You know, there's a lot of there's many reasons why you'd want to run a spy.
When there's like any target that isn't covered by a sniper sightline, basically. When like if you need to pick like situations, people pointed this out in my scout video, but situations where scout is useful are also situations where spy is useful. The only difference being scout has more trouble getting into advantageous positions than spy does, because spy has, you know, invisibility, which is like his whole thing. The trade-off is that, or the supposed trade-off is that spy is squishier than scout is, and scout can move faster. That's basically
Yeah.
Those are the things. Yeah, this is I don't think this is true at all, and I think this is downright ridiculous. This is what I mean when I say I think people exaggerate how bad he is. He's not so bad that you would rather choose any other class in the entire game, you know.
No, I don't know, man. Like, I agree. I've been playing a ton of Spy, and I've been having a lot of fun, despite how bad people say he is.
Yeah, and you don't have to be like, people often portray this. People have been portraying this like this even before the game balance discussions were commonplace. People always say like a spy is only really a threat if he's like a god at the game and can like trick stab. It's like, that's not true. Yeah, spy is the thing about spy is he's like a constant threat in the same way that sniper's a constant threat in a sightline position. Down a sightline, spy is a constant threat the second you know he exists, because you have like one extra thing to worry about, which in like a heated which in a heated situation is a huge deal.
Yep. And the moment you forget, or not even the moment you forget, but the moment you turn around to re-engage with the fight, you're at the mercy of him. Right?
Yeah.
No matter how small that window is, if you're not looking behind you for a brief moment, that is the spy's opportunity to attack and kill you. Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And honestly, like the argument that I hate that people are kind of like turning around or throwing around is like, oh well, just turning around completely invalidates the entire class. But I mean, you're not going to be constantly walking backwards.
Yeah, that's a ridiculous.
And if you are, you might walk into him.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah. So
that's like saying like being Ubered invalidates the entirety of the game, so therefore being Ubered is overpowered. Like, yeah, of course, turning around. The whole point of the class is that if you don't show your head to sniper, he doesn't kill you. So is you know what I mean? This isn't a
Yeah, but if you aren't looking at the enemy, and if you aren't showing your head to the sniper, then you're also not doing anything for your team either.
Yeah, that's the whole point. Like, you can't just walk.
Yeah,
you can't just walk
existing,
backwards.
He's having game impact.
Yeah, agree.
Yeah.
To some extent.
Yeah. I think that pretty much covers it. We can hear out arguments though, I'm sure.
Okay, I can think of one scenario when the enemy team is really, really bad. But
That's so sad. You know how sad that is? That's not so. It's so uncharitable to spy as a class. There's so many situations.
It's a very reductionary. It's not a word, but it reduces the argument down to, this class is only good if the team is bad, which is, I think, not true.
Yeah, and also you could say that about every class, for the record.
Yes, you can.
But outside of that one situation, I'm going to be honest here, and I might get some pushback for this.
Maybe.
I seriously think if you want to play optimally, there's almost never any reason to play Spy unless you just really enjoy playing him. So let's talk about why.
We already covered why that's
Yeah.
not true. We thought of scenarios where he would be needed.
Yeah.
Why that is. Just what exactly is wrong with Spy. Spy is a specialist class who unfortunately shares his single target elimination specialty with another class who is far more adept at this task, the Sniper. See, Spy tends to have this problem, especially at base with his stock kit, where you get a kill and then you die.
Whips 5 stabs, dies.
Yeah.
That's not the best clip to put there for your argument, man.
Yeah, it's just like misses, does badly at the game, dies. Spy has this problem.
Yeah, Sniper does it better. Yeah.
Systematic issues. You don't show a skill issue.
Yeah, this is you should show a situation where you did everything right and then you died. You know, if you were trying to prove this point.
Yeah.
This is not the one.
The terms specialist and generalist have ruined game balance discussion for Team Fortress 2. Because those terms came from competitive modes and people have just been citing those for years, ever since they entered this community's vernacular. And personally, I like viewing each class as their own individual like chess piece with their own unique abilities.
Yeah.
Instead of like grouping one of these classes as always good because they're always viable, and these classes as sometimes good but mostly bad in specific scenarios. I think that's a completely wrong way to look at game balance for TF2.
Yeah. I also tend to think of, now there are definitely some classes, namely Medic and Soldier specifically, that work really well in a variety of different scenarios. But
of course, yeah.
But they're certainly is a focus, or at least an attempt at a focus for each class, so that they're supposed to be really good at one thing.
So what you're saying is it's not so much a binary and more of a spectrum.
Something
where
like
these
that.
classes are more generally viable,
Yeah.
and the other ones are less generally viable.
Yeah, but they're all, it's kind of like balance.
They all have their roles and fit in.
It's kind of
in certain scenarios.
I don't think saying that some characters fit in more scenarios on average necessarily. I think it's a valuable distinction to make. You shouldn't lose the details of what are those scenarios where this character does fit in.
Yeah, and you also have to think about where those terms came from. Those terms came from a homebrew game mode where only one type of map environment is played all the time, and that's 5CP. And so that already cuts out so many unique game scenarios in which the quote-unquote specialist classes would be very valuable in, right? And so those terms get completely flipped on their head as soon as you move over to a different map that isn't actively played inside of a competitive rotation.
Yeah,
so.
For sure. Yeah.
I'd like to bring up this, someone said this in chat, ground. He does the highest amount of damage without any additional damage sources like crits or mini crits, up to 700% damage. Like, seriously, how the hell does make sense for balance?
Are you referring to Spy?
I think he's talking about Spy.
Yeah.
I'm referring to Spy.
Well, because you have to be right next to the person to insta-kill them.
Yeah.
I feel like that's such a risk-reward thing.
Yeah.
That makes up for it, I feel.
Yeah.
And there are entire classes that have kits that are meant to like sniff you out and stop you from getting behind people.
Yeah, I agree. It's funny that
wait, never mind.
Sorry.
Sniper.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
But no, that's actually really funny because it's you see how easy it was for us to confuse that statement for the Spy.
Yeah.
But then, oh no, I meant that for Sniper. It's like, oh, the one where you don't have to be right next to someone to insta kill them, right?
Yeah, you could be on the other side of the map.
The one where you can do it from spawn. Oh.
Also, Chad has already caught on that one of us does not have a mic.
One of us. Among us.
It's so sad.
Spy syndrome. This issue is so pervasive to the point where many of his unlocks are meant to mitigate this as much as possible and add.
Hold on, I want to read this real quick. Is this just doubles your
Actually, it triples your effective health pool.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's the one that caught me. Also, the big earner's downside. The big earner saying it like actually has a downside. The other two of these have, well, you could argue the Dead Ringer doesn't have a downside, but it kind of does. I think that this is, he might be showing his hand a little bit because the description of the big earner kind of seems a little bit uncharitable. And actually, all of these, to an extent.
I think he's right about this because the kunai is. I mean, he discusses the kunai more in depth later, but kunai is a direct upgrade. It's like, why would you never not use the kunai because of how good it is?
That one I understand. I'm more talking about like the way because he's describing the big earner and as like, oh, it actually has a downside, with the implication being that the other ones don't. And I think a lot of Spies unlocks. Especially the ones that just don't get talked about very much, they all have pretty damning downsides. There are only two I would say that arguably don't, and that'd be the big earner, or not the big earner, the Dead Ringer and the kunai.
Yeah, I think he probably wrote this when comparing all of these things to kunai Dead Ringer. Because I mean the current version of the Your Eternal Reward makes it easily the worst knife. Because of how punishing it is to even get going with it. So it has the most inherent downsides, in my opinion, of any spy item, and it makes it probably the worst. I think it makes it the worst item in Spy's kit. Period. Even worse than the Enforcer.
Red tape recorder.
The red tape recorder is still invaluable because it disables a building and your team can follow up.
Okay. I was just curious. That's what most people cite as his worst one. So I was curious what your reasoning was. No,
yeah, I think the red tape recorder is still a peg better than than the Eurotunnel reward, because you can still at least have an argument for using the red tape recorder, but the frickin' this knife, no, you use any other knife, otherwise you are genuinely crippling yourself.
I think that the Eternal Reward is kind of, it's a weird weapon if you were trying to make that concept work and try to balance it, because it's entirely dependent on how other people perceive you.
Yeah, the old version was much better.
Yeah, they must have changed this. I don't remember it having 33% cloak drain rate, and
No,
to
it didn't.
disguise, you have to get rid of your ability to go invis.
No, it didn't. Originally, you just could not disguise, and then you would absorb
Right?
they would absorb the class you stab as your disguise. That's how it worked before, and then they changed it to this current horrible
That's
balancing.
why.
state.
Yeah, no, that's like here. This item that has a cool thing that it does. Let's make it completely unusable because we've disabled a third of Spy's kit.
Yeah,
Pretty bad.
It's a rough weapon.
No, yeah. I fear we may have gotten off track, but going back to the comment, yeah, I think it is a bit not. Maybe disingenuous is the wrong word, but saying it makes it look like as if though the big earner is the only one that has a downside in comparison to the rest of Spy's kit. And no, you are right in that most of his unlocks do have a pretty severe downside compared to his normal kit. So
Yeah, for sure.
Some degree of survivability after getting a backstab.
Also, sorry, I don't mean to take up time. I don't think anyone says the thing at the top. Like it's
no, no one thinks that.
Yeah, I've never heard anyone say this.
I think anyone who thinks this has not played enough Vanilla Spy, because Vanilla Spy is very good.
Yeah, I was gonna say, out of all the classes, like Vanilla Spy is one of the best vanilla classes. I'd argue.
I agree.
In terms of having like a consistent, like all of the things that he has are good. There isn't like a melee weapon that is useless, like for most of the other classes.
Yeah, I agree. I think no, yeah, you're right. I agree.
Yeah.
Because, frankly, he needs it. This is because once a spy makes his presence known, he's usually incredibly trivial to take down. And unless he's getting a pick where no one else is around or he's just a god with his revolver aim, he's going to get easily rolled over by just about any class he runs into.
He was just about as effective as anyone else would be in that situation.
Yeah,
he got 2 kills and died. That's like how most people play this game: is they get a couple kills and they die.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's surrounded by other people when he decloaks. He decloaks in front of like 5 other people. He should not have.
He decloaks in front of a sentry, stabs first, and then saps the sentry.
Yeah.
I don't want to critique his gameplay the entire time, but
I don't think that gameplay proves his point. That's all.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah, no, and not to mention, I would say the same is usually true for classes like Scout, especially when you're not like once again a god at the game. If we're assuming average skill level, Scout often gets 1 or 2 kills and then dies because the second people notice that a Scout is there, he's obnoxious. At the very least, and if he doesn't get a kill, he might get out with his skin or his health, but he wouldn't have accomplished much of anything.
Funnily enough, if I have to think about which character is the most likely to not get 2 kills and dies, it would have to be Sniper,
Engineer.
as long as he had Engineer actually. And then probably like Sniper as long as he has a team.
Yeah,
I agree. But what's funny is like, oh shoot, I had a thought and I totally lost it. Yeah, so really awareness is the biggest hamper to literally anything in this game. As soon as you're aware of anyone's presence, it makes their efficacy go down exponentially, right? Because if you don't see someone, they're going to kill you. That's just normal for the game. But I will agree that if you're aware of the spy, in general, that does hamper that class the most compared to any others. And then the next one to that would be like the engineer, because as soon as you know where the engineer is and know where his gun is, it's trivial to take him down. I think that argument is more applicable to the engineer, because once you know where the engineer is, his stuff's not going to move.
Yeah.
Now you just have to spam out where he is and he's done. Whereas the spy, you're aware of him, but he can just go invisible, and now good luck. You're not going to be able to figure it out. In the immediacy of him revealing his position after getting some stabs, sure, that statement is applicable, but if he gets out, then it's a reset. And now you have to wait for it to happen again.
Yeah, even if he doesn't get out and you pick him, he respawns, and then unlike the engineer who's stuck where he is, kind of, he can just go to the other end of the map.
Yeah, and then for the engineer, it's like he then moves to the next stationary position, right?
Which people learn on a per map basis, and it's kind of.
Yep.
I can kind of guess where the engineer. You can probably guess where the engineer is going to be better than the spy.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree with everything. Everything you guys just said. I also think I think that people are citing what Lazy Purple said. It's just like it's every class has it easier when they don't know you exist.
And that's true.
It's just universally
very
true.
true.
It's like it's almost like a non-statement. Like of course, like in real life, it's easier to
kill someone.
to kill someone if you, like it's in real life. In real life, it's much easier to kill someone if they don't know you're there. It's almost like a fact of life. So yeah. Huh.
We should have a real life balance discussion.
Yeah,
Yeah, we
Podcast, guys.
need to have like American Ninja Warrior, except they all like are in a room with the lights off, and they turn the lights on. It's like there you are, and they start beating the shit out of each other with a giant Q-tip.
They get like 10 seconds with the lights on, and then the lights are turned off again.
That'd be awesome.
I would love that actually. That sounds great. Oh man, now I'm sad that doesn't exist. Damn it.
Only the medic rivals him in weakness during head-to-head combat. and
Rivals. Like
Rivals him in weakness in terms of head-to-head combat.
no,
I mean,
no, I know. I'm saying like I wouldn't say it's even close. Medic is just dies. Like,
no, yeah, Medic is
Medic
easily the
instantly
squishiest when
dies.
it comes to head-to-head.
Like
And then so like if you let this clip play out, I think here's why he says it.
oh, okay. I'm sorry.
a lot
Wait
of the
for it.
time I'd pick the
Random
medic
crit.
in that fight.
Yeah.
Sniper 10.
And he says a lot of time I'll pick Medic in that fight, and that's because random melee crits, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, Spy has a gun. Use it. It's pretty good.
And it's hit scan.
It's crazy.
And it's hit scan. It's not a syringe gun.
Yeah. You don't have to like be a savant to use it. That's crazy.
Or 35 damage crossbow shots at close range.
And it works on Uncletopia. You know, there's that.
Yeah.
Works on places where bad mechanics don't exist.
Yeah.
Tends not to have this problem
Wrong.
unless his team fails to provide a solid front line,
I'm gonna go
rivals
back.
him in weakness during head-to-head combat, and honestly, a lot of the time I'd pick the medic in that fight. Sniper tends not to have this problem unless his team fails to provide a solid front line, at which point he's forced to constantly retreat and not get anything done outside of a couple of picks.
That's applicable to pretty much any class.
I
in the
was
game.
gonna
Like,
say-
if your team doesn't have a solid front line, then your entire team is falling apart, including you.
What, I wasn't even stuck there. I was stuck at, oh my gosh, he has to fall back and get only 2 picks. Could you
I know,
imagine?
right? Oh god, Sniper has to fall even further back and not engage in the
He
team
just-
fight even more.
He just criticized the Spy for doing the same thing, except Spy dies. That's the only difference.
Yeah, and so because Spy dies, therefore bad, and Sniper good because he never dies and just can attack unabated.
Yeah. It's not. It's weird. I'm gonna turn up the everything. I'm gonna turn up the video real quick and turn you guys down.
Here, y'all keep going. I'm gonna grab some coffee.
Yeah, sounds good. I think that this is it's really weird to say that like, oh, Spy is a class, you know, that doesn't you know, bad class doesn't get any picks, and if he does get picks he dies, and that's a bad thing. It's like, oh, but if Sniper's countered, he still gets 2 picks, and he has to run away, because good class, and like the disparity between these two things is so massive. In both situations they get 2 picks. The only difference is that they like, one of them runs away, one of them dies, and it probably takes the same amount of time for both of them to get back in the fight if we had to guess.
Respawn time. Yeah,
you know, I don't think that, I think that this is being a little bit uncharitable.
Solstead in chat, Sniper only gets 2 cookies before his nap.
So true.
I don't know what it means, but it's funny.
Can't you toast it?
Spy gets 2 cookies before his nap, and then he dies. He naps
Spy gets
permanently.
shot during his nap.
He gets shot during his nap.
See, I think it's all. I don't know if you mentioned this while I was away, but he's comparing the efficacy of Spy to Sniper, and that's just the most apple to oranges thing you could do.
Yeah, it's much
They're
better.
both fruit.
It's much better to compare him to Scout. Their game plans are much more similar. One requires you
Yeah.
to like be close to. Both require you to be close to the person, and Sniper's over there like, or I could just kill him, and I'm like, 100, 200 yards away. I don't have to.
Yeah,
I don't have to like position myself pretty well.
that's true. At the start of the video, when he said like, oh, he shares his class role with one other character, I thought he was gonna say Scout, because I feel like Scout does pretty high damage as long as you're like close to people. It's like 2 shots and you can kill most classes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he said that because these are the 2 insta-kill classes there, and that's like why he's drawing the comparison.
Hmm.
I suppose I do feel like the playstyle is closer to Scout though.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, like I
certainly.
mean, the general playstyle is absolutely much closer to Scout because you have to be close to kill.
And
Right.
even then, Scout is almost an insta kill. Like you can, if they don't know you're there, like
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
it's like a.
Like
Th-
we
Oh,
were
no, you're
saying.
there.
I like timed it. It's like an eighth of a second for 2 shots to go off. Like the time in
Yeah, and
between
that-
2 shots, anyways.
Yeah, and 2 full meat shots downs everything except heavy if you're not overhealed.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Anyway,
I don't know if he
Like-
ever gets to talking about Scout or not, but
he might.
No.
Oh.
Despite being listed as a support class, is a lot like Engineer in that he first and foremost requires the offensive support of his teammates in order to give him the freedom to make plays.
Is he talking about Sniper?
Sniper
Yes.
still, yeah.
I don't.
I think that's true in most situations.
Assuming the Sniper is not a god at the game, I would probably agree. Yeah.
That's also a
Spot-
statement that's applicable to every other class. Like you need offensive coherence in order for anyone to have the opportunity to make any plays.
Well, yeah. You can get.
Yeah, but at the same time, there are certain classes that can operate on their own more than others, and Sniper's definitely on the bottom of that list. Where
I disagree.
He-
I think the engineer.
Well, I think
desperately needs his
yeah.
team to
so
be, like, coherent
once again,
and
you've
have a
pulled the
chance.
Engineer card. I do think he's right above Engineer then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
If like in a 1v1 situation, yeah, I agree. Or 1v
Good
the
point.
entire team. I
I
agree.
keep forgetting Engineer exists.
Yeah. Can't forget about him, our
You
lovely
can't.
little Texan.
He's so vastly different to every other character. That's
Mhm.
It is hard to actually remember him. I often forget him too.
He's so Texan.
That's so true.
I meanwhile doesn't really care about this. He's less dependent on his teammates to provide him security, which is one of his few advantages over Sniper.
I think that's
Sniper-
completely wrong. I think that's a completely wrong statement. The spy is absolutely dependent on the efficacy of his team. He needs to be engaging the enemy team when
Well,
they're
yeah.
engaging his team.
Well, yeah.
In the absence of his own team, the spy is way less effective because there's nothing distracting them.
That's what I was gonna. Yeah, if you had one spy versus any other class, the spy. I've played enough MVG to know this. Spy just is bad because spy relies on distraction of other people. If there's no distraction, spy does really badly.
Exactly, and so therefore he is very dependent on his team and working with his team.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely. A spy that can communicate with his team well is infinitely more dangerous than a spy that is not talking to anybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, but at the same time, you can say that about any class.
True. I would argue it's more true for spy though because he requires the most psychological control of the other team, as cringy as that sounds, because you get like the anime comparison. But spy is reliant on the psychological manipulation of the other team to make you think that you're doing things when you're not. So that's the whole point.
Yeah.
So it's almost more true that communication with your team is better because then you can have your team coordinate like psyops with you, where you make you look like you're doing something when you're actually doing something else.
Yeah.
Yeah. Spy is the U.S. government.
Being a backline specialist also means that he performs well when the front lines come to a halt and the game slows down. Again, much like Engineer. But when the game picks up the pace and the front lines are on the move, forwards or backwards, he struggles to maintain a solid hold. Sniper is stronger the more
The spy by himself?
He's still talking about Sniper, I think.
Okay. Sorry.
static the front line is. But once again, Spy doesn't really care about that. Spy's ability
That's also not true. Sniper is totally fine with a front line that's moving. Have you not played Upward?
Yeah. The sniper could just
Have
move.
you not played any map with a sense of linear progression?
You just move
Right, like
forward
just
or
because the
backward.
front line is moving back and forth doesn't suddenly make Sniper have issues.
Yeah,
Like he's still a very oppressive presence when the front line is moving.
I agree.
Words, he struggles to maintain a solid hold. Sniper is stronger the more static the front line is. But once again, Spy doesn't really care about that. Spy's ability...
I also don't agree with him there. I don't think that, because I that's why I rolled him back, because I didn't know what he said. I don't think I think Spy certainly cares about how static the front line is.
If anything, that's like the best opportunity for him to attack is when everyone's distracted on the grind of the front line fight, and that's his chance to get behind them and break it.
Well, yeah, you have
break the stalemate.
You even have like if the front line is super moving, like you have like a soldier medic combo and toward the front of the front line, and then the mid line you have like a heavy. And that's like it's way more difficult for Spy to kill all of those targets at once. Whereas if they're like right next to each other or close to each other, and it's much more static, it's much easier for the Spy to use like the big earner, for instance, and chain stabs together to get to the next target, or the kunai, of course.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think in both cases, Spy is totally fine. If the line it all boils down to like distraction. If if the enemy team is engaging with yours in a fight, that's your time to attack. No matter if the front line is moving or static.
Absolutely, I agree.
I think it's interesting. He's probably weaker if your team is pushing successfully than if your team is losing ground successfully.
Yeah, because he has a harder time getting behind.
Getting behind, right? Yeah.
I've played games of Spy where I'm like constantly trying to get behind the enemy line, but we're rolling the team, so I just don't do anything. And
You're just following your team.
Yeah, yeah.
Behind the wrong team.
Yeah, that's like the worst. That's the real weakness of Spy, is that he's too good. He's too bad when your team is winning.
The back line of the enemy team with ease thanks to his disguise and invisibility.
I don't want to miss what he said.
Sniper is stronger the more static the front line is. But once again, Spy doesn't really care about that. Spy's ability to get to the backline of the enemy team with ease thanks to his disguise and invisibility allows him to be much more freeform with his picks than Sniper, who's limited to targets within a certain sight line instead of, say, around a corner.
I agree, but I think this contradicts your earlier statement about why would you ever use Spy.
Yeah.
This is a reason for why you might want to use Spy in a specific situation.
Yeah, because you can take your time and choose your targets more carefully, and there you go.
Yeah,
instead of like, oh, I see him, me kill.
Yeah.
If anything, that waters down your reasoning for picking the classes, right? Because Sniper, it's like me see, me kill. But Spy, there's like an extra interesting layer on top of that where you have to be more careful with your choices.
Yeah. Yeah, Sniper's easily the most straightforward class in the entire game in terms of what you do.
Yep.
Click heads.
Yeah, you stand on one side of the map and you click people. That's basically what you do. And not to say that there's not skill in doing that, but basically every other class has several different things that they have to be good at the same time in order to be successful.
Yep.
I guess clicking heads and positioning, to be fair. You do have to have the correct positioning.
Only if there is an enemy sniper on the other team.
Well, even that, okay, maybe it's like relatively easy. I mean, I think Sniper's positioning is easier than Spy's, for example.
Oh yeah, it's
however, it
easier.
still requires like some thought and some skill.
I agree. Yeah. I agree that it requires it. You have to do something. It's not like it's a non-factor. you do have to stand somewhere that makes sense. But in terms of like Scout requires infinitely more positional awareness than a Sniper does,
and constant positional awareness. Whereas a Sniper picks one spot, camps,
yeah,
and never moves.
It's kind of like Engineer in that in which this is the sniping spot, this is the sentry spot.
Well, I think Engineer is even more dynamic with his positioning, because there's a lot of different ways you can move your gun around after, like, you get a couple kills, move it, get a couple kills, move it, keep people guessing. Whereas a Sniper, if you're just in a spot, they can be aware of you, but then there's just no way to engage you because they can't reach you, and they are forced to then either play Sniper or run a Spy, right?
Yeah.
Whereas for an Engineer, it's a little less imposing.
If the enemy team does have a Sniper in that case, there is still an incentive for the Sniper to shake it up and say, oh, I'm going to be here this time and there that time.
Yeah, but then that's the only time where a Sniper must be constantly considering taking his position into account, whereas literally every other class has to be constantly being aware of their position and changing it to adapt to the close quarters game that is very dynamic.
You're right. Now that I think about it, Sniper is one of the characters that requires the least amount of position.
He has the least mechanical depth in this game, easily.
I would agree. I don't even think it's particularly close. Who would you say is second?
In terms of mechanical depth?
Yeah. I have a pick in my head. I'm curious.
Ooh, man.
I know there's like a steep drop off after.
Pyro.
Sniper.
All they do is hit M1
and like saying this is still like there's like I'll say heavy, but even then there's infinitely more mechanical depth to heavy than sniper, even putting him as the second lowest.
I was gonna say medic.
See, with medic, there's a bit more to take into account. I mean, you have constant positioning. You have to worry about healing rates. You know, there's juggling additional healing targets if you're running a crossbow. You know, maintaining your uber and counting it. You know,
Yeah,
I think that's there's more depth to the healer than stand still, click head.
I guess, yeah.
As reductive as that is, but
I think that my thing is like with a lot of the things that make, I guess this is the point of mechanical depth, so I might be contradicting myself, but with medic's mechanical depth, a lot of it is like diminishing returns, or things that I view as diminishing returns because of how heavy the impact, how heavy of an impact medic is.
Just by holding left click, you mean?
Yeah, you become such a valuable asset by holding left click that it makes everything else by comparison seem like, I feel like you could throw things like Girardi management in for sniper if we were being really generous, but it's just that you don't ever really need it. Like the average sniper is not throwing Girardi to like extinguish members of their team, even when he absolutely could be doing that, because he's just more valuable to not be doing that.
See, I also feel like you've reduced that a little bit, because it's like, okay, if you're just always holding left click, you're always valuable. I mean, you can say the same thing for heavy. If you're constantly shooting at something and hitting your bullets, then that's, very effective.
Yeah, for sure.
You need to take into consideration, prioritizing your healing target. If you're healing the same guy constantly, that's useless for your team, right?
Yeah. I think what Levo was trying to say is, even if you only use medic's primary and you just hold left click even on multiple targets, that the effect that you have doing that is much greater than the effect that you have by learning how to min-max, like, okay, switch to the crossbow, hit this guy real quick, switch back to this, get that guy topped up. You know what I mean?
Right, I get you. Okay, yeah, that makes more sense now.
That is indeed what I was trying to say. Thank you, Alan.
My bad. I misinterpreted.
You get the diminishing marginal returns kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yes. I follow.
Because like with heavy, if you're just holding down left click, you obviously can't do that forever because of ammo. But even if you could, I think you have less impact on the team than medic doing the same thing.
Man, that would be an interesting medigun concept.
What?
Give a medigun an ammo count, but then give it some kind of different healing. Yeah. Right.
I agree.
I mean that would effectively be a crossbow, but maybe instead of burst healing, have it do something else. That could be an interesting concept.
Yeah. It hasn't been done yet.
It could be.
Has not been done.
Could be like you can heal multiple targets at once, like the healing beams go to each other.
Yeah, but then it's like a massive ammo drain on your medigun. Ooh.
Yeah, that would be
crazy. Getting close to the mic.
Yeah, no, that'd be really, really cool. I would enjoy that. Yeah.
Sight line instead of, say, around a corner, which can be very helpful for certain targets like medics, who are smart enough to stay out of a sight line as they build uber. But
that's crazy that's a reason why you would use. That's just a contradiction of what he said a minute ago.
I mean, here's where his sniper bias is leaking out. Oh, I can't see him as sniper, therefore I will run spy, because he is not in my sight line. Because his bias of not needing to ever push and just waiting for people to come to him and appear in his sight line is what led this statement to be written.
But it's so fascinating, because he just said that there's no reason you'd ever use spy. Like, ever.
Yeah, and then he just presented a scenario in which
you would use spy. That's crazy.
Because I cannot see him as I cannot see my target as sniper, therefore I will run spy.
Just like, why would
I think he's assuming that the sight lines are completely static. Even if he moves, the medic will still just go around the next corner, I think is what he's going for, if I'm being more charitable. Whereas the spy can actually chase him around the corner more effectively.
Yeah, I'm just pointing out that he contradicted the thing he said a minute ago.
That is true.
The whole thing this video is contingent on is that spy is useless, or more useless than every other class in every scenario. And you're just like, well, spy can do this.
Yeah.
And it's really important that he is able to do this too. It's like the whole point of his class, but whatever.
Yeah.
It also means that targets on the enemy backlines are going to be his priority. The problem with this is the people on the backline aren't usually
Okay.
the ones winning the game. So yeah, you're probably going to be getting picks
What?
hanging out of the backline, but they're not going to be particularly important ones unless there's a really, really good sniper locking the area down, or maybe an engineer with a good teleporter set
So
up,
you're not-
or the power class who's been rolling your team finally died, and you get him coming back from spawn. But
No, okay, so he's completely reduced how Spy is meant to be played. It's like, oh yeah, you're only picking off people who are just leaving spawn, or the really good sniper in the back lines. Like, no, typically in TF2, the front line is very, very thin, right?
Yeah,
And
for
so
sure.
you want to prioritize the targets that are having the most impact on that thin front line, while the rest of their team is kind of off on like the other part of the front line, like at a lateral distance away, right? And so you prioritize those targets. He kind of paints the front line as this very thick thing where players are kind of like in this line where it's like sniper, engineer, demo, soldier, met, like all in like a straight line. But no, it's more smeared out across a wider area. And so you have to prioritize where you're positioning yourself to get those targets. And just saying, oh, if they're not a backline fighter, then you're never going to be killing them. It's not really. I completely disagree with how he posed this.
Ah,
Yeah.
I think
It's not like the medics are just back there having tea, you know?
I was gonna say, it was like that's what I was gonna say. Where aren't the medics usually, unless he means like the very back, I guess, because I guess you could say that like where sniper is, that's the back line basically.
Yeah,
And it's
and
like,
here's the thing too, right? It's like think about. I guess that this argument holds up the most in, let's say, a map like Upward, where like if you're holding on Upward first, the front line is very disjointed, where you have like an engineer who's always in the cubby, a sniper all the way back on that hill. But then you have the compartmentalized frontline fighters that are away from these two things. They're going to have no immediate impact on you, so you can focus on those things, right? If anything, you sometimes want to sneak past the guys who are on the back line to deal with the guys who are the most effective, because again, everything is so compartmentalized and discombobulated across this smeared out front line that you're still going to be effective regardless of whether or not you get the guys that are behind you.
yeah.
In fact, they may never even have an opportunity to engage you because of how far away they are, or if they don't see you, right?
Yeah, I agree. I think that it's a fascinating like almost conflation to say that Spy only is good if he picks off targets on the back line. There's
Or
no
he's
other.
the most effective when he's doing that, which I completely disagree with.
Yeah, I was gonna say even if that were true, that would still once again this if he is only effective when he's doing that, that's once again a situation where you would want to pick him over another class. But even if that's not the case, you could, just because he's most effective in one situation does not mean there is no situation in which you want to run him in a different situation.
Yes.
Like if there was like a medic heavy combo that's wrecking your team, you know, and
Right.
where the Spy, that's one of the good things about Spy being relatively unimportant is that if you kill two people and die, you probably outbid your own value on that kill. If you kill like a medic or a soldier. Those people are, by the nature of you being the worst class, they're more important than you. So killing them and dying makes it a plus on in terms of, you know, living and dying.
Like trading a pawn for the queen.
Yeah.
And what? Oh, we lost someone. They said they had to leave early, didn't they?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah. No, and I think this also kind of picks at the argument of prioritizing your targets. Right? It's like like as the Spy, you understand that you take the inherent risk of being squishy, so you want to have your moment of impact be the most impactful. So you're going to go out of your way to get the guys who are having the most weight on the fight currently.
Yeah.
Instead of wasting your time with people who are useless.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I agree, and I think that I don't like the way this is being conflated.
area down, or maybe an engineer with a good teleporter set up, or the power class who's been rolling your team finally died, and you get him coming back from spawn. But if you try to attack a group on the front line so you can actually accomplish something, then you'll be lucky to get 2 backstabs before everyone notices you and kills you.
I mean,
in
he
2
just
shots.
accomplished something there. That's pretty good.
I was gonna say you got 2 people and 2 really important people, and he could have escaped. He had the big earner's speed boost. He could have just
his
gotten
mistake was
away.
continuing to engage. He could have bailed out before trying to shoot.
They didn't even know he was there until he tried to stab them again. He could have just left.
Yeah.
That was just him not playing well. That has nothing to do with the issue of Spy.
Yes.
Accomplish something, then you'll be lucky to get 2 backstabs before everyone notices you and kills you in 2 shots. See, ideally, chain stabs are where Spy has a real advantage over Sniper. For Sniper to kill multiple high health targets, he needs to be effectively immobile and give himself tunnel
No,
vision.
he does not. No, he does not. What?
He needs to be immobile? What?
He does not. He can move.
What is a quick scope?
He can move. He could do multiple things in succession as well.
Here, finish this out because he says something else that I find funny.
Okay.
Sniper to kill multiple high health targets, he needs to be effectively immobile and give himself tunnel vision for 3.5 seconds every time he needs to get a full charge.
Or 2 quick scopes kills everything in a fraction of that time.
Yeah, he's not in quicksand.
And also, it's like, and a quick scope kills 5 out of the 9 classes. And actually, finish out this statement again because he says something else.
Oh boy. Okay.
Health targets,
I'll
he
let
needs
it finish
to be
before I say anything.
effectively immobile and give himself tunnel vision for 3.5 seconds every time he needs to get a full charge, on top of hitting extremely precise headshots on what are very likely to be moving targets. Spy could just stab, and boom, he's done. Unless
What?
Talk again. Here, wait. Let this finish because he says one more thing too. I think.
Sorry. Okay.
all the classes you're fighting are 150 health or lower, Sniper struggles to accomplish the same thing.
Okay,
And
now pause it. Because when you're engaging a target, more often than not, they have less than their maximum amount of health, right? So it's even easier to chip off the other 4 classes that have higher health than your base damage with the quick scope, right? So, and even then, landing 150 on a 200 health soldier is still effectively a death sentence, especially so for Pyro and Demo Man, because then chip damage takes it the rest of the way, and then you can instantly fire off another shot without even you can hip fire an unscoped shot and kill them. And even then, the argument about being immobile for 3 seconds is completely invalidated by the fact that you can just do 2 tap on a quick scope or quick scope and then body shot, right? By just doing another hip fire.
Yeah.
And then the biggest thing that bugs me is him reducing Spy's gameplay is, oh, stab, you're done. It's can I not do the same thing for Sniper where it's click and done? You know?
You can.
It's like, come on.
This is just blatant reductionism. I'm not gonna. I don't think you can make an objective argument about which one's more difficult, but it's dishonest to insinuate that chain stabbing with Spy does not require a significant amount of skill.
Oh, I completely agree.
It's so difficult, especially with how admittedly bad the backstabbing hitboxes can be, where you get like I keep wanting to call them ghost stabs. The one where it looks like you no the one where
stab.
No, the one where it looks like you stabbed them and it like you do the animation but they don't die.
Oh, fail stab.
Yeah, that's it.
Fail stabs.
Yeah, that happens frequently, especially when you're new and you don't know the timing.
Yeah.
And yeah, to describe stab, it's just like, oh, you just stab and that's it, and you did it. And
yeah,
it's
he
like,
makes this reductionary argument of like, oh, it doesn't require skill. With Sniper, it's harder to hit headshots than it is to pull off an effective chain stab. It's like that's the implication with this segment, and it's not. That's just an incorrect statement to make.
Well, even if like let's hypothetically say that it were true, right? Like, I don't think that that citing the difficulty of something invalidates the point that it is broken or the point that it is underpowered.
I agree. Just because something is hard doesn't mean that it's balanced, or vice versa.
Absolutely not. That might be
Just
true.
because something is easy doesn't mean that it's overpowered.
That might be true in a single player game. But not in a multiplayer game, certainly. And in
True.
It would be wild if there were like a sniper equivalent in a game like soccer, where if you like the whole premise of a goalie is like this is gonna sound like a really weird comparison. Bear with me. A goalie in soccer is basically sniper, but the defensive version, where if you're perfect, you could hypothetically block every shot, and the worst your team could get is a tie. But the difference between the two is that there is no possible way to block certain shots. And if there were, it would be cool if there was some way, perhaps with some sort of damage fall off, hypothetically, for the sake of the argument.
Reinhardt shield.
If there was if there was some way to make it where not every shot that sniper could possibly hit would be a 150 damage quickscope. If that were not the ceiling, that would be great. Similarly to
I
how
agree.
in soccer, if there was no possible way for a goalie to block certain shots, it's just not humanly possible.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah. This is a
Yeah,
wild.
what you're touching on is limiting factors that every other class has, except the sniper.
I agree. Yeah.
On what are very likely to be moving targets. Spy could just stab, 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 and boom, he's done. Unless all the classes
So
you're
dumb.
fighting are 150 health or lower, Sniper struggles to accomplish the same thing. And the mechanical
What?
skill required to do so in roughly the same time frame as a spy
Struggles
is
to
immense.
accomplish
But that's
the same thing.
ideal.
I
Sorry,
just,
I
He's
can't.
losing it.
I don't understand. I have played
I can't.
I have played both Sniper and Spy for a comparable amount of time. I'm infinitely better at Sniper because it takes much less. I have to think much less.
Right.
And it takes much less effort to pull off the same amount of efficacy that a spy can have.
Yeah.
Sorry, I had to.
No
I
worries.
can't.
No worries.
Ideally. Spy suffers from a lack of consistency based on several factors outside of your control, down to unpredictable enemies, random bad luck, and even your own teammates screwing you over and giving away your position. Hell, one of the better ways to play
All of
Spy...
that happens for everybody else as well, but definitely your own teammates screwing you over is the biggest offender for a spy. That's pretty bad.
Yeah.
Random bad luck happens to everyone.
Yeah. For sure.
Playing TF2, right? And then having to deal with and having to predict what enemies are going to do. Every class has to do that.
It's a basic game.
It's not
basic game
exclusive
sense.
to the spy. Yeah,
Yeah.
it is basic game sense. Yeah.
Yeah. Also, I'm just someone in chat. The proactive omnipresent vessel. I'm just letting you know. We're gonna pause this video a lot. Because we got things to say.
5 minutes
Yeah.
in.
Yeah,
We
we
got another
5 minutes
3
into a
hours.
22-minute video.
we have things to say.
I have a test at 11:30.
If he begins repeating himself, then we will roll through these arguments. But until
Nah,
then,
I don't think he like keeps repeating himself at any point.
well then we're gonna address these as they come. That's all.
consistently is unironically gun spy. Because even though spies...
Wait.
Yeah.
So
I must
he's making the argument for consistency here. Is spy is the most consistent when you're just using his gun.
Yeah.
Hell, one of the better ways to play spy consistently is unironically gun spy. Because even though spy's guns are far from the strongest weapons in the game, at least then you can't blame anything but yourself. It's just you, your revolver, and the will to succeed.
I wish if he were here.
That could be the same thing could be said for trying to stab someone.
if-
It's your own fault if you try to strike at an inopportune moment.
If you were here, I would absolutely love to ask him, like, what if I'm playing Gunspy and I get random crit? What happens then? Like, does
Or what if I'm playing Gunspy and they suddenly jump and I'm using the ambassador, my crosshair is no longer on their head.
yeah, that was how was I supposed to do that? What was I supposed to do? Like
Right,
things
it's
like
still-
that. Things like that happen all the time.
Yeah, it's just it goes back to game sense, right? It's
Yeah.
like he's trying to make the argument that it's more consistent because even if you're I think the argument he's trying to make here is that even though someone is aware of you, then this is when your revolver becomes more consistent than your knife, because if someone's aware of you, you can't backstab them.
Yeah.
I think that's what he's trying to say here.
Okay.
And he's not wrong, but the point of the class is to strike when they're not aware.
Yeah.
And it's your own fault most of the time. At least it's your own fault most of the time when you strike at an inopportune moment. And I find that when playing spy, that if they turn around to spy check, then more often than not it can be tied back to your own shortcomings, because either you're not going in at an opportune moment where they're properly distracted, or you struck back too soon when they're still painfully aware of you. Like if they had just respawned, yeah, they're going to be hyper paranoid and aware of you and keep looking behind them.
Yeah.
Right. So even if you fail a stab, more often than not, it can be tied back to your own fuck up.
Yeah.
But he does get into some things later mechanically that I will agree with. So
All right.
when it comes to
and the will
inconsistency,
to succeed. Can I have a headshot fight? Headshot fight! Headshot fight! I win! Combine all of this with the fact that Spy is generally
He just
putting
has a
him-
need to click heads. You know,
He just really
I
likes.
understand it.
Yeah, it feels nice.
I'm not faulting him. It feels good.
It feels
To
great.
click ahead.
Yeah, me when I use the ambassador, it's great. I hit 1 headshot per game. It feels awesome that one time.
In the riskiest possible position of any of the classes short of a ninja with no backup, and in truth, you may honestly be lucky to get 1 backstab in any given life, especially because it's so easy for people to tell you're a spy as a result of our next major issue. Disguises...
See, okay, so I agree that the spy does have to put himself in the riskiest of scenarios.
I agree.
I do agree with that.
I think that is the premise of the class.
You are putting
yes.
yourself behind the entire enemy team, and there's no one there to help you. So,
Yes.
that I agree with.
I would argue that spies in real life often have to do the same thing. That's
yeah.
That's
You
not
don't
that's not an argument for game balance. I'm just pointing it out because I think it's might be thematically
Well,
relevant.
no, yeah, it's not an argument for game balance, but I mean he's just pointing out the purpose of the class.
Yeah.
And I think it's a non-argument to say that because he puts himself in the riskiest of scenarios, therefore he's not viable, or therefore he's like unplayable, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
just aren't all that great. Unless you're very new to the game, it's incredibly easy to tell if someone is a spy if disguises are the only thing they're relying on. Not only are plenty of disguises straight up broken as a result of source spaghetti.
So this is a problem. Like,
Yes.
bugs are very obviously something that needs to be fixed and are a huge hindrance to spy.
Yes,
especially when it comes to disguises. Like
absolutely.
that's a no-brainer.
Yes.
That sucks.
Yes. I 100% agree. Spy has a lot of bugs related to disguises that make it make that are bad. I agree.
Lack the ability to perform several tasks that would make acting as a spy much more efficient and a much more reliable and legitimate strategy.
I think that I would agree.
Me too.
I think if you could do more things as a disguised spy, it would be better. I agree. It would be a reasonable buff to give him. It's kind of weird that he doesn't have it.
Yeah, I agree completely.
Yep.
For example, you can only fake a reload animation if you actually reload your revolver while you're disguised. This is incredibly niche.
This is dumb.
It effectively means you need to waste a shot before disguising and either turn off auto reload, which everyone should have on at all times otherwise, or else immediately switch away from your revolver so that you can then reload a grand total of 1 time, because your revolver reloads all of its ammo at once. Meaning you'll get, at most, about a second of fakery for your troubles.
So I agree. I mean, it's important for Spy to have more opportunities to like try to fool players.
Yeah.
But I think this is now putting too much emphasis on. I think he's trying to make the implication that you can't role play already. Like you can certainly fool players by behaving in a certain way.
Yeah.
Right. And because like if you just disguise as scout all the time and then beeline for everyone's back, obviously you're acting like a spy. But if you kind of move around a bit, you make it seem as if though you're avoiding your own team or looking off in a certain direction. Yeah, you look way less like a spy, even to more experienced players, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, but no, I think he does need more tools to help him fool people, and the ones that he has need to be improved, like the reload one. Like it'd be great if you could hit a button and then have an animation play that's making it look like you're reloading.
Yeah. Or like even more complex things for specific classes. I think would be nice. Like even like imagine if you could do like the taunts for each of the classes. That'd be cool.
I don't know. I fear that, and I think people will disagree with me. I think it might go too far. Like he needs a couple of extra things, but he should not be able to mimic a class perfectly.
I know, I agree with that. I'm more meaning like for maybe even for just scout. Like give every class one specific thing that he can do or something similar to that that makes him a little bit more difficult. Like if he could, I don't know, build, I don't know. I have some ideas. Like if he could build a fake building as engineer or look like he's building a building as engineer, that would be cool.
I think that could be worked into like a new unlock
or something like an extra,
not inherently part of his base kit.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, no, I agree. Also, have either of you seen this Octa video?
No.
Which video?
The video that's in the bottom left.
No.
I have seen it. It is very good. It is about the YouTuber in question, Octo, trying to fool people by reloading in front of them to see if they will not suspect him as spy. It is a good video, and it does demonstrate a major problem with how bad spies' disguises really are, because he shows like all the good clips, and then at the end he shows like the monstrous amount of bad clips. Like he got it right, like it happened maybe 12 times, and then there were like 200 other clips of him just not getting it because of how bad, how jank it all is. It's a good video. Highly recommend.
How about if you just press the reload key while disguised?
Crazy.
You fake a reload animation. That would make so many approaches so much more believable. Especially for classes like Demo Man who spend a lot of time reloading. Also, plenty of disguises simply aren't viable because the slow movement speed of the class means you aren't going to be able to catch up to anyone unless they hold still or back up into you.
That's kind of...
let them back up into you.
Yes, but also that's kind of just unfortunately the reality. Could you imagine if there was a soldier, for instance, that moved or a heavy that moved as fast as Spy did? Be like, I wonder where the spy is.
No, yeah, I think so. High GPS. Are you familiar with High GPS?
Yeah.
Yeah, so he put something in his balance mod where you can hold a button and then walk at spy speed, no matter what your disguise is.
Yeah, I've seen that, and I think that would be a really cool mechanic.
I think that is the exact thing that spy needs.
Yeah.
And then maybe the reload thing, but even then the reload thing isn't obviously, thanks to Octo showing us that it didn't really fool people.
Yeah.
I think allowing Spy to have the option to walk at his base speed and move at his base speed no matter what disguise you have by holding a button, I think that'd be very good to have.
I agree.
Because like you said, if you see a heavy or a soldier running really fucking fast, oh, there's the spy. Then if you can suddenly toggle that and go, oh, well, no, I'm not.
Yeah, absolutely.
That would add a very fun layer of depth to the spy if you could do that. So I think that'd be a cool thing. I think that's the only like real genuine change that spy would need.
This is a complete hypothetical, and I have no idea how it would actually work. But like certain classes, like Heavy has the Guru. Could you imagine if when he was running at spy speed, he was just always holding the Guru regardless of who he was disguising?
Yeah, so that's what he goes on to kind of talk about, is that I think that's the next thing he says is, why don't you make it so that Spy can disguise as a class with an item that makes them move faster than they normally do.
Oh, okay. Well, nice.
Which I thought was a good solution, but I think I prefer the I hold the button to go spy speed strat, because
that adds too much depth. I mean, like, something that's great about TF2 is that even though there's a lot of mechanical depth to things, the inherent entry level to all of them is very simple to understand.
Yeah.
And it's why weapons like the Vaccinator or really why weapons like the Vaccinator are very heavily underused, is because you're having to juggle a lot of inputs to make it even remotely effective. Once you master it, it's very overpowered. But because it takes so long to juggle all these buttons and do extra shit in order for it to work, it turns people off. Whereas engaging with any of the other mechanics for literally any other class is a very simple process, right? But mastering it takes a lot of time. Yeah. So like having to engage in extra like menu layers to like pick Heavy and then pick
what flavor of Heavy would you like?
What flavor would you like, right? And what hat would you like? It'd be a little too much, I think.
Yeah. My solution, by the way, was a little different than that. I was just suggesting that whenever Heavy specifically is running at spy speed, he's just holding out the Gru. That's
always the Gru.
Yeah, it's just always the Gru. That was just my suggestion. Just so he blends in a little bit more. That was my only thing. Other than that, I was not suggesting that you have like, you can pick what flavor, like you can have built-in loadouts and you can like choose just what kind of Heavy you want to be today.
Well, I wouldn't go that. I wouldn't go that detailed, but for the things that affect movement speed, maybe.
Could you imagine you hit the disguise kit button, it just pulls up the loadout screen, you have access to every cosmetic in the game.
Oh my lord, it's like playing with loadout.tf and like picking it. It's like by the time you're done, the round is over.
Yeah. You're just like, I want to be Batman. Aw, damn it.
Especially for classes like Demo Man who spend a lot of time reloading. Also, plenty of disguises simply aren't viable because the slow movement speed of the class means you aren't going to be able to catch up to anyone unless they hold still or back up into you. Disguises like Demo, Soldier, and Heavy would immediately be a lot more viable if you could regain your spy speed while disguised through the press of a button. Or hell, just do what you do with Scout with other fast classes and let him keep his base spy speed if it makes sense. Like, hey, if you disguise as a pyro with the power jack, you get to move at regular spy speed. Or an Islander Demo Knight, a soldier with the escape plan, a heavy with the Gru, whatever. And speaking of Demo Knights,
So one quick comment. I personally don't like that, because if you're not aware of the fact that a soldier or a pyro on your team is running that specific weapon, then all of a sudden your movement speed is made to match that.
Yeah.
It's gonna fuck with you, right? So that would make spy even more inconsistent for the player, where it should be up to his control to either move at spy speed or the speed of the class, and not be at the mercy of whatever they're equipping.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say as well.
Yeah.
It's like it depends entirely on what the other team is running, which is similar to what's that other weapon? Oh, like the third degree, or a similar weapon where if the team's not running a medic, then
It's useless.
It's useless. Yeah.
I think it could work though if you don't base it off of what the other team has equipped.
Yeah, I
where
agree.
You can choose. I would like to be the slow heavy or the faster heavy.
Yeah. Or if you just always had
that
it.
solution is done with the toggle to run faster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Without
Yeah.
having to add the convolution of like, oh, he has the Gru now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
But it should make sense visually to the enemy team as well, you know?
See, well, then I think that would be giving spy too much leeway, because the point of the other disguises is the point of spy having these limitations while disguised is so he can still be found out. If you give him, and this is where I'm going to get some pushback, if you give him too much to play with, to make it too easy to fool players, like, oh, it makes sense that this heavy's running fast because he has the group, right? If you can do that all the time, then I think that'd be giving spy a little bit too much leeway. I don't like that. I much prefer him having these inherent limitations of him being able to be found out, because in a very fast-paced game, it's very easy to quickly fool somebody, but if you give him all this extra leeway, I think it would happen too often, and I don't like that idea.
I think that you could give.
Here's the thing: anything we talk about would absolutely merit some kind of playtesting.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
of course.
So,
Yeah, I agree. I think that I would love to see, even if like, this would be interesting, right? If you had it where that you could have him disguise much better, but it was only on Halloween. It'd be wild to see, like, because costumes. It would be wild to see like what players could get away with when for like just a day of the year when spy is suddenly much more powerful for no reason.
oh god, for no reason, fucking he's just that'd be wild.
Yeah, that would be great because he is the disguise class. It would be awesome to see him actually be able to use that in a setting that makes sense.
Yeah.
But that would imply that Valve would be like paying attention and like changing the game on a regular basis. So
Yeah.
A good authority that Gabe Newell himself is on this stream.
yes,
I like, on one hand, it'd be cool to have Valve do balance changes for things, but on the other hand, I'm kind of glad they haven't been continuously doing that for years, because that's
Yeah.
what killed Overwatch.
It is.
I think that I think a lot of things contributed to Overwatch dying.
Perhaps it's incorrect of me to say that that's the only thing that killed Overwatch, but
yeah.
it was a huge turnoff for a lot of people to have massive balance changes every few months, right?
Yeah, because
This character
the
that I
met
love is completely different now.
yeah, I agree. Yeah, we can keep going. I think.
bugs would also need to be fixed in regards to disguises. I can't tell you how many spies I've caught out immediately because the
Yeah.
poor bastard disguises a demo with no legs or a pyro with no head. I know some patches were made to this not too long ago, like with the engineer's shotgun, which was a greatly appreciated change, but I still see these happen with a surprising degree of frequency. As it's
Yeah, I mean, fix bugs, obviously.
Agreed.
Yep.
Zesty, I have a question for you specifically. Do you think it's interesting that people will see this as like, oh, thank God that they changed the spy? I noticed when the spy is missing their legs or head or whatever, all the time. But when like there's like a person on the other team who's wearing an intentionally fucky loadout and you can't tell what team they're on, that's fine.
Oh yeah, it's totally. Leave those cosmetics alone. Totally fine.
Yeah, but it's interesting because like in both situations, it's I identified this as an enemy at a glance. But I can't do that because of an issue with the king.
In both situations, it fucks. So in the case of the spy, it fucks over the spy at a glance. And in the case of fucky paint regions, it fucks over you, right? It fucks over the person looking at it. But
Yeah.
only one of them is a problem.
Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
only one should not be addressed.
Yeah, only one of them is a problem. Agreed.
Silly.
Yeah. I just thought it was an interesting conflation. Not to say that he thinks that.
No. Like Fish isn't saying this. This
is not what
an
he's
aside.
saying. It was just
This is an aside.
it was an aside. Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, person in chat said, "Is UFR just reviewing TF2 videos, or will there be more?" There will be. There will be other videos that we talk about that are not TF2 related. This is general YouTube review thing. But we're starting with some TF2 content because I know that's what a lot of you are used to, and also I have a lot to say about some opinions and some YouTubers and their thoughts on things, such as game balance. Hooray!
Stands. The longer eyes are on you for, the worse disguises are.
Wild.
Meaning you kind of need to make plays as fast as humanly possible before you get caught out for just existing. It can sometimes feel
It's
like the
just
main
like
can be
purpose.
said for
disguises in
literally.
real
This is
life.
yeah, this is a fast-paced game. Of course, you have to make your plays as quickly as possible before you die. As soon as you engage a player, the clock is ticking, right?
Best faith interpretation. He is setting up a more substantial point. Surely that is not the only thing he is saying. Because you have to acting faster makes you better at the game and or more effective at the game is true for I think every single class.
Yes.
Disguises are. Meaning you kind of need to make plays as fast as humanly possible before you get caught out for just existing. It can sometimes feel like the main purpose of disguises is to get past a sentry nest without being noticed, because a sentry is just about the only thing that's actually going to be fooled by a disguise consistently. Speaking of
No, I disagree with that.
I
I
also
think
disagree.
if you're playing smart, then your disguises at a glance are going to fool most people in a 12v12 game.
Yeah, I agree. I think that a lot of people are often fooled by disguises. The people that aren't are usually just hyper paranoid and playing well.
Yes.
So yeah, I don't agree.
sentries,
Except and the defense is just anecdotal too, by the way. Like there's no way you could objectively determine whether or not that what he just said is true or false. It's just like, well, I've fooled people, so now what?
Yeah, that's right. It's like, well, I can't fool people except sentries very often, so therefore this must be true.
Yeah, I agree.
I've mentioned this before in other videos, but the sapper really isn't a great tool for taking down engineer buildings unless you manage to kill the engineer yourself or he's died on his own. It's much better for...
Yes. Is this an issue?
That's the idea.
Is
The staff and stab has been bread and butter since the game's inception.
Is this a problem? This is I thought that, yeah. It is good to have a weapon that only the engineer can remove, because that makes it where you only have to kill the engineer to get the sentry down. That is
also finish out the statement because he says something very important.
Okay. All right.
noticed, because a sentry is just about the only thing that's actually going to be fooled by a disguise consistently. Speaking of sentries, I've mentioned this before in other videos, but the sapper really isn't a great tool for taking down engineer buildings unless you manage to kill the engineer yourself or he's died on his own. It's much better for disabling them for a short time so your team can follow up on it without worrying about getting shredded. There's a
What a
reason
notion! Working with your team in a team-based shooter?
What?
What?
Also, that sounds like a situation in which Spy would be a good class to play.
Yeah, so you can disable a gun and people can move in.
Could you imagine?
One of the more important situations.
What? A sentry is arguably the biggest roadblock that could exist. Like
Especially in an area that's hard to get at, where other classes can't really get a good reach.
Yeah, that's
You know,
wild.
and demo and soldier, if they can't get a clear shot on it, guess where the spy comes in.
That's crazy. Also, people who are just joining, by the way, and don't know, he said at the beginning of this that there are no situations in which Spy is the best class to play or the optimal class to play.
Or no, he said he struggles to come up with situations.
No. After
He's given us several.
After that he said I will get some pushback on this, but playing optimally, there's no reason why you'd want to ever pick Spy. That's what he said.
And throughout the video so far, he's given us several scenarios in which you'd want to pick Spy.
He has contradicted that statement on like 5 different occasions at least.
Which is fine for the record. Nobody's perfect.
It's it's just.
I think is sure no one's perfect, but when the premise of the video is that statement, and then you're contradicting it throughout the entire video up until this point.
I hear you.
It's kind of a fuck up.
It's a little bit of a.
Hear you.
It's What do you know, Zesty? Do you play this game?
Oh no, I don't. I only harass workshoppers.
That's true.
Yeah, that's
I-
all
that-
do.
I have it on
I
good
bully
authority that
people who
that's
make
correct.
hats.
That's
Don't
correct.
you know this? God.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I should study up on you better.
Oh,
Range
shit.
sappers also count assisted build destructions. This does make sense as Spy is listed as a support class, but this is just about the only way he's able to support his team.
What?
And
He did
even
it.
then,
What? Also, yeah, he did it. He
Well, then the second engineer comes along, which is more of an engineer problem than a spy problem.
The second engineer is funny as fuck.
It's right.
And then you kill him, but then the third engineer pops up, and you're like, "Oh shit!"
Yeah, and then the third, that's a problem with NG stacking, and not really an inherent problem with the spy.
That has nothing to do with the spy. That's just unfortunate.
it feels less than opportune. Sapping a building is often chaotic and clumsy. You need to get in so close to the engineer and his buildings, and walking towards them as a teammate who isn't able to do anything that a normal teammate can do
Come on,
is
Fish.
a dead giveaway that you're a spy.
He got
There
it.
you go.
He did it.
No, the scout
to
got him.
Oh shit!
The scout killed him.
Oh no! Oh man, that's like not a. That's just. I don't want to. Look, I'm just gonna move on. Okay, I don't.
Yeah.
I don't want.
Let's not.
We don't-
Let's try
we
not
don't-
to critique his gameplay.
Yeah,
too much.
I'm not gonna say anything. Well, no, because no, it's fine.
Mention the fact that basic game sense means plenty of engineers will build nests in locations that are extremely suboptimal for a spy to make a play in. You'd think the engineer basically
Why would the engineer ever put their sentry nest in a place where the spy would have easy access? Why?
No, and the point is, like, you have to wait for the opportune moment to get at the engineer, right? And if it ends up being a suicide play, I'm sorry, that's just part of playing spy.
Just what?
the fact that basic game sense means plenty of engineers will build nests in locations that are extremely suboptimal for a spy to make a play in. You'd think the engineer basically cornering self would make him more vulnerable, but in a lot of cases, it can
Okay,
make
that was a
certain
fuck up because that was very obviously a backstab, but it didn't register because
Yeah. Which
game,
would-
game jank.
That would be a thing to mention because that's pretty
He
common.
does. He gets
Yeah,
to
he
it.
Oh,
goes
okay.
on to
All right, cool.
plays feel downright impossible. You basically need to either decloak right behind the engineer and hope he doesn't have ears,
Yes.
or else hope that the sentry's in an area you can drop down onto directly before he has time to shoot you. And even then, unless you're coordinating with your team, manage to gun down the engineer before he can unsap his sentry, or get lucky with a stab and sap, there's a good chance you won't accomplish anything and you'll just die.
Get lucky with the stab and sap. Like it's
What
not
do you-
like
I mean, he just performed exactly what you're supposed to do.
he did it multiple. He's done it multiple times
He's done
during
it.
the
He
segment.
did it.
He's you can. It's not that. Look, it's not luck. It's you can do it consistently. I'm sure of it.
Yeah, he did it. He just did it there.
I see so many spies who just see themselves as sapper kamikazes who throw themselves at a sentry nest to try and take it down over and over again, and it's just sad to watch, really.
I mean, that's
They're
just a
bad at
low-level
the
spy.
game. Yeah, they're
That's
bad
just a
at the
low-level
game.
spy.
How does that?
That's someone that's someone who does not have a lot of experience.
I agree. It's sad, but it's not sad because spy is bad. It's sad for another reason.
Yeah, that
feel like
is, as
spy-
the kids say, a skill issue.
That's unfortunate.
Spy has a lot of potential as a class concept to support his team. So many potential gadgets to sabotage his enemies with and provide information to his team.
That's crazy that like the spy watch is one of the things in the whatever.
But he doesn't really utilize any of this. At the end of the day, his purpose is single target elimination with his knife, and that's something he's less than proficient in for several reasons. For starters,
Okay, so he just watered down the entire class again because like, oh, it's now single target elimination, but he just gave a bunch of other scenarios in which he's valuable.
Yeah,
he can still relay information to his team, and just because people don't use it doesn't mean it's not invaluable for everyone else. He can obviously deal with sentry nests and allow his team to push with coordination.
He said himself that gun spy was one of the most effective ways to play the class. That's something he said.
And does that not count it? And so by that logic, would scout not also be like single target elimination? Is that not also what he specializes in because he focuses on one target at a time? So so by definition, would scout not be the same?
That's what I thought.
That's
in
what
the
I thought.
first 30 seconds of the video.
That's
but-
what I thought he was going as well. And also, man, I just these arguments are rough.
I agree.
there's
I mean, yeah. Anyways, sorry,
basing
continue.
any class on melee hit registration in TF2 is
Yeah.
a recipe for disaster. Every
This is the
spy
only
in the
argument that
world
is
has-
that is infallible in this video.
I
It's
agree.
so
This is
really hit Reg's ass.
100% correct.
Yeah.
Why is it based on your ping? Why is that why does it do that?
has had countless moments where you completely miss a target
Yeah.
you stabbed directly in the back and instantly killed someone you poked in the face. And
Yep,
listen, I
that's
know a lot
just-
of the spy mans
Yep.
watching this
Sword
video are
shank.
gonna
Yeah, we can just get through this one. I'm pretty sure we don't.
He's also been showing a lot of gameplay that isn't his. You'll notice the marked increase in spy ability in these next few clips.
Ah, wonderful.
look at some of the more
Is that why there's this watermark in the bottom right?
I think so.
Okay.
dubious stabs I make here and say, oh, well, that wasn't a face stab. You actually performed a frame-perfect Wimble-Womble stab. Very well done. That's quite impressive. When the
That's a good
reality is I
joke.
had no idea what the fuck I was doing for any of this.
Wimble-Womble stab.
Anyway, the knife is incredibly inconsistent unless you absolutely master knowing
There's
exactly
no way
how
this
to
is him
exploit
playing.
it.
There's no way that's still.
Well, yeah,
him
his-
playing.
his,
Like, he just suddenly had a massive ramp up in ability to be able to pull that off.
Didn't his GUI change?
Isn't Raw another spy main?
Yeah, his GUI changed. So we don't
Yeah.
we don't have to force this. This is true.
Yeah. So yeah, this
Anyway,
is now
then-
someone else's gameplay.
Yeah.
See, look, the low poly, different
Yeah,
game settings. Yeah.
yeah.
He's using someone else's gameplay now.
Yeah. That would have been.
which is fine for the record. But you guys
yeah,
have
it's
seen
fine.
the
But,
H
but
bomber
he
guy
said,
video.
he
You
said,
should
look at
credit
these
it.
stabs that I'm about to pull off here.
I think it would be good form to include.
Like maybe that's a joke, I guess, but it doesn't come off as a joke.
I would be
I
willing.
don't think he's trying to take ownership of this video. I think he's trying to say
No, that's
the
not my
ones that I have
implication. But like,
attempted to make in
you know,
this.
that's not my implication. But it's a little weird to say like, watch these stabs I'm about to pull off, and then he pulls up someone else's gameplay.
I hear you.
I
I
think
find that weird.
I think that if the best faith interpretation, he is assuming the viewer will recognize this is someone else's gameplay based off the change in HUD.
No, he's kind of listing off some literally who's. It's a little for most people they wouldn't be able to tell. at glance.
I agree. I'm just I don't want to. I've made similar mistakes in the past. I don't want to. It is if he did not credit this person in the description, then I would agree that this is probably a bad thing to do.
Look.
And it doesn't make his it definitely doesn't make his point much stronger.
Yeah.
But if he is just trying to prove this point and needs footage to prove the point, then using another person's footage is fine as long as he credits them. I don't put that much stock in.
He did not.
Oh.
Fish
Credit.
Stick, if you're watching this, you should put links to the people's channels.
He didn't seem to credit anybody
I
in
agree.
his description.
I agree. Yeah. I have made similar mistakes in the past, so I use other people's gameplay for my
I always
video
put a
essays.
watermark. Like if I'm using someone else's video, I just put their name in the corner of the screen. Like, hey, this is who it is.
I always try to credit them in the description.
This. Anyway, the knife is incredibly inconsistent unless you absolutely master knowing exactly how to exploit it. And honestly, if you ask me, unless you find it just more fun than the other means of killing multiple people, which I don't really, the returns just aren't worth it. Besides the inconsistency, one of the biggest problems with the knife is that it simply isn't rewarding enough. And that sounds weird, right? Like, it fucking insta-kills people. What more do you want? Well, what I mean is, all you're doing is killing one guy and then exposing yourself to the world for everyone to shoot at while you desperately try to run away and survive. without
Isn't that the
ability
same
to
thing
do
for
so,
Scout?
that
I would argue that's definitely somewhat similar. Yeah.
Like that's the same argument you can make for Scout. You get one kill, suddenly everyone's aware of you.
No
But-
way.
I don't know, man.
Yeah.
mobile classes like Scout and Soldier have. Unless you're an
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, there you go.
got-
Ah, that's the mobility is the
Yeah,
problem.
we got a caveat.
well, you
Wait, what is the big earner?
desperately try to run away and survive without the ability to do so that mobile classes like Scout and Soldier have. Unless you're an expert at faking out people with your invisibility or just using the Dead Ringer, if you get caught out, you're probably just gonna die. Most knife unlocks give you some sort of bonus on top of the kill that makes it much easier to escape or be more aggressive. And honestly, I feel like some of these effects given on kill for these unlocks could be applied to Spy at base. If
No.
Spy
Horrible idea.
I agree. Yeah. Also,
Why?
oh, sorry. I'll let you guys talk it out.
I'm not. I don't know necessarily have an opinion either way. I'm wondering why it's a horrible idea. Of course, like he goes on to say they should make like the super knife, or not that
Yeah.
they should, but that it's an option,
Yeah, I think it's a horrible idea.
which is
I
a
think
little too far. But I'm sure you could add like
a lot of
One,
spies'
right.
inherent weaknesses are there for a reason, and it's because he can insta kill you from behind, no matter what health you have. Even though that's also kind of like a no shit argument. Suddenly giving Spy all these extra bonuses to make him even harder to deal with after he gets a backstab would just be and not just one, but all of them. And we'll get to the super knife bit, but
yeah.
yeah, I don't think it's a good idea. But he talks about, I think the biggest thing is the kunai, but we'll get to that in a sec.
So you think it'd just be too much?
Oh yeah, it'd be way too much. I think that'd be
Gotcha.
way too overpowered for Spy. And also he makes the argument of like it allows Spy to be more aggressive. It's okay if Spy can't be aggressive. It's the same reason why Medic shouldn't be aggressive, right? Because that's not the class's role. That's not what the class is supposed to be able to do, right? It's supposed to he's supposed to be the very methodical, patient, class that's going to pick off very key targets, right? He's not meant to be a belligerent tank.
Yeah.
Right.
Could you guys keep talking? I have to do something real quick.
Oh, yeah,
we
sure.
can try.
No, I mean, sure, fuck me. I mean, hell yeah, we can. No, see, I just like that notion of like, because the class is not allowed to be aggressive and keep getting backstabs, therefore the class has problems and is inherently flawed. I think that invalidates the role that Spy is meant to have. He's meant to be the sneaky espionage class who gets, one or two kills and then slinks away, or if he's caught like a spy, he dies. And that's like what gives Spy a lot of his inherent charm. And then like also going back to like, backstabs aren't satisfying. They're immensely satisfying because like after all that time of like methodically waiting for that opportune moment, then bam, you get him, right? That always feels good for me when I play Spy, right? And then like if you turn your brain off, which is what he's going to get to, if you turn your brain off by playing kunai and then becoming that belligerent tank, I feel like that removes a lot of the charm and purpose behind the Spy. So and I personally, I greatly dislike the idea of giving him that as an inherent vanilla upside, because then that would start tearing the Spy away from his intended role. And I don't like that. I don't think that should be done. What do you think?
I hear you. I think I'm not very good at Spy for the record.
Me neither. I'm shit.
I think what he's identifying is or the part that I can agree with most is that it kind of feels bad to get 2 kills and then die over and over again. So I think maybe what he wants the most is a way to get out more, which you kind of have with the Dead Ringer, but
you do. And I think but here's the thing too, like it's a lot of other classes deal with that as well, because like when you engage with the team fight as a soldier or a demo or a scout, most of the time you're gonna get you're gonna get less than 3 kills, three or less kills with most lives, right? And then you die. But I fail to see how that feels less bad. I guess it's because you're directly engaging in combat with someone who's directly engaging with you, right? So like that instance of the fight makes the interaction feel that much more involved and engaging. Whereas with the Spy, it's like, like you said, stab, and you're done. But then I think that goes back to what I just said, in that it's reducing all of the work that's led up to that payoff. And if you're just doing that over and over again, I feel like you're rushing as a Spy, which is something you shouldn't do. If you're rushing over and over again, then it feels it's that much less engaging in the short term.
Well, yeah.
Maybe a better change then would be to make it so that you can keep some of that buildup that you accomplished between lives. So even if you go in and get 2 kills and then die, there's some way for you to like you can put a bug in their base kind of thing where now I can teleport to it once every couple of minutes, or maybe like if you've played like Rainbow Six, you can put cameras in places.
Yeah.
And that's like a really cool thing where I can this affects how I play within their lines now. You know what I mean?
No, yeah, I think Spy would benefit from new unlocks that would allow him to be more effectful. God, Jesus, I am not waking up this morning. Coffee's not hitting. But no, yeah, I think Spy would greatly benefit from additional unlocks that would allow him to be effective even after he dies. Like placing a marker on somebody, like a mark for death thing, or like some different kind of sapper. Or something that lets him have a lasting impact after he dies, aside from whoever he just killed no longer being available. I agree with that. I think that would be a nice thing to have.
And it would play into the I'm a spy in their base. I'm the red spy in the base.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. This
Kind of
plays
feeling,
more
you
into
know.
his intended role, right? Of
Mhm.
him having a lasting but sneaky impact.
Yeah.
I like that.
I also like that. Someone pointed out that that's similar to a somber ability from Overwatch.
Yeah, kinda, yeah.
And I wanted to say, because Cucumber, friend of the channel Cucumber, said that the gameplay he's used is from a spy main named Raw, and he's friends with him. If that's the case, I rescind all statements about credit. Because if they're friends, that's
Yeah, then whatever. He probably got direct permission, so who cares?
Yeah, who
But
cares?
even then, credit your friends. Is my take.
I credit my friends, guys. You should go subscribe to Alan's YouTube channel. He definitely has one. He made
every time I use my friend's gameplay, give him a big sloppy kiss. That's how it works.
Yeah.
We're all bros here.
Credit.
Hold on. Alan, do you mind if I share your famous video in chat?
My
It's a
famous
really
video.
It's a
Famous
really
video.
It's a really good video.
It's a video. What is?
It's
How do I private a video?
No, it's a good video. Hold on, let me put this. Do you mind, Alan?
No, it's
a good
go
meme.
for it. It's gonna get a bump in views.
It's
How did you find it so quickly?
I looked up the name of the video and then the name of your channel.
Yeah.
Guys, go watch. Go learn how to make dyes in Minecraft. It's a good video.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Go learn how to make dye in Minecraft.
Yeah, 12 years ago.
Yeah.
I made that on my iPod Touch, I think.
It's got more
Wikipedia screenshots.
Yeah, it's
with Owl City in the background. It's an experience.
With Owl City in the background, no less. Oh man, that's wonderful.
It is a time capsule of a video.
I love it.
Everyone go comment comment funny video me like on the video. Thank you. Anyways, we were watching this video, I think, by this guy. I don't know if you've heard of him.
We're halfway through. We're on pace for the 4 hour.
We're making good time.
Yeah, we're getting there.
Got a speed boost on backstabs all the time. Yeah, that'd be great.
What? No, that would be fucking awful. Could you imagine?
Oh yeah, no, it would be great for the spy. Like it'd be great for the player, but it would not be
could
fun
you
to
imagine?
deal with.
Could you imagine if there was a kunai spy that that could just had speed boost all the time? That would be fucking abysmal. Oh my gosh, I would cry. Oh boy, as if getting 300 health wasn't already blatantly easy. Now he can do it.
210. We gotta give him the benefit of the doubt.
Sorry,
210.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
How dare
I forget my names. I'm sorry. My numbers.
It would mean he has the chance to not only get more chain stabs, but also run away much easier if that's what he needs to do. If Spy got some health on kill all the time, also great. It gives him much needed survivability once he gets caught out. If Spy got actually silent backstabs all the time, once again great. He can get some chain stabs rolling.
Do you agree with the idea that Spy should at least have silent backstabs all the time? Zesty? Because I'm more amicable to that change.
From my experience, rarely do I hear a death scream from someone getting backstabbed. Because if I hear a death scream, I almost always associate it with, because it's the same one they use for random crits and headshots. So most of the time, when 95% of the time when I become aware of a spy, it's because I see him kill someone else, or I see him behaving like a spy while disguised.
Sure.
So very rarely do I associate a death scream with the presence of a spy, and the only times where it happens is if I'm by myself and there's another teammate behind me and there's no one else around, no other audio garbage happening, right? And then I can hear it and pick up on it. But that's, I find, very rare inside of your typical casual game.
I think that I think it would be nice, even just as even a quality of life improvement for the guy, you know.
I think that, I mean, it would be a quality of life thing, but I think very few players already pay attention to death screams. I at least when it comes because if it gave a different audio cue that it was a backstab, then then it would be useful. But because it uses the same death screams as crits, then it's not that useful because it can be immediately confused as something else, right?
Well, then maybe like, because I also typically recognize the difference between, because the stab sound combined with the death scream makes a different noise, and I even tend to notice that, and I haven't been playing for as long as other people. So maybe it's just a person to person thing. I think it would be it would be just a nice general thing, because I don't think it gives him that much, but I think it gives him enough to where I think it gives him enough to where it's a little bit of a buff.
No, yeah, no, it would absolutely be a buff, because there are certainly many players who do pay attention to those things. Just because I don't doesn't mean other people's don't as well.
Mm.
So, but that's just me. That's my experience.
Yeah, probably.
I would be okay with it. In other words, like I'd be okay with it if Spy always had silent backstabs, because I don't think it would be that. It wouldn't be like this crazy buff, like a speed boost or health on hit all the time.
Yeah, I agree. I think it would be a reasonable thing. You know, he got one is what I'm trying to say.
I also agree.
Yeah, he got one.
Gets caught out. If Spy got actually silent backstabs all the time, once again, great. He can get some chain stabs rolling without people turning around the instant they hear the backstab noise. You'd almost need to combine all the positive attributes of the unlock knives into one super knife to give Spy a chance to keep up with the stronger combat classes consistently.
Pause right here, because this is the worst way you can approach game balance in TF2.
What the fuck?
Every class does not need to be on the same playing field of efficacy. That's not the point of the game.
That's not how it works.
Yeah,
like,
that is not how TF2 should be handled. It's okay for certain classes to be inherently weaker in more scenarios than another.
Especially when they're like all able to be picked at any given time. Like it's one thing when like there's a fighting game where one character's better in most situations than all of the other ones, but like that's not how, you know, that's not that when you could have all of the characters on the field at the same time. You should have them. You should probably have them be good in some situations and bad in other ones. And
exactly. So I'm looking at your chat. It's like, yeah, imagine if Medic was as powerful as Demo Man. Yeah, that's the point of the that's not his role. The role for Medic is to be the healer. The role for Spy is to be the sneaky, you know, pick class and getting a couple people every now and again. He's not meant to be a power class like the offense classes are or the defense classes are.
You see as the person immediately above that other guy mentions, he says the other combat classes. So you can't use Medic as an example. He got you.
but Spy is not a combat class.
I agree. I'm fucking.
That's the point. He's not.
I'm completely fucking with you. I just think it's funny.
Not to be. And what's funny is like Sniper's not meant to be a combat class, but he tends to have the most sway over a game with his kills.
Yeah,
it's like
that's crazy.
Yeah. Like it seems like the only it's like Medic and Spy are well within their support role most of the time, I think. Whereas Sniper, in more situations than not, I feel bleeds more into defense or offense. Than support.
Yeah, I agree. I think that this is a wild ass way to, even if let's say this was, let's say for some reason we all agreed like, oh yeah, making all of the classes equal, that's game balance. Let's say if that's correct, right? Even then, the
game is boring.
We don't have classes.
Well, no. Okay.
Anyway,
that's not this idea to give Spy all of these traits is just so ridiculous, because it makes him so infinitely versatile and makes him entirely too good at his role, and also makes him eke into the other roles of other classes to where he might be like better at Scout's job, for instance, than Scout is, depending on how much we're giving to him.
Yeah.
Like could you imagine if like we applied this to something like Scout, or imagine if Scout had like the Babyface's blaster, the Force of Nature, with the stock damage output, like he had all of those things.
Give him a weapon that removes all of his inherent downsides.
Yes. This is the game balance. This is what we need. Like this is ridiculous.
Horrible idea.
This is a ridiculous idea.
There's a very good reason you see a lot of high-level pub-stomping Spy players using the Kunai and Dead Ringer. It means they get to fucking play Spy more than they get to stare at the respawn screen.
No, it means they get to play Spy as a belligerent tank.
Yes.
Because that's what they want to do.
Yes, and also in order for them, you can't just, correct me if I'm wrong, people in chat and Zesty who have played the game more than me, you cannot just pick these two weapons and win. That's not how this works. Like you in order to do what pub-stomping Spies do, you have to be good. Not to say that balances it, by the way. That's not my point. But
Yeah, and some of the best spy mains still use other weapons than Kunai Deadringer. Just go watch a Stabby video. He uses other weapons and other unlocks, and he's like one of the best spy players this game has ever seen.
Yeah, man, this is like so uncharitable to the class.
No, and I think, and thing is, like, the thing is, players always pick these two items because they, at least conceptually for the Deadringer, it's a broken weapon and is ass to play against and is always good to use. Conceptually, not anymore because of how they changed its balancing, or its stats. And then the kunai is just always the best knife to use. Period. Like, why would you ever use anything else?
Agreed.
But he touches on this more. Keep going.
Maybe once or twice that I find the kunai very frustrating to play against because it allows the spy to snowball off of your bad teammates in order to just never die, basically. But I understand why spy players are so insistent on using it.
But
because they don't die.
But yeah, for the reason that you just said
why they don't die. Yeah, the reason why the kunai sucks to play against is because. This is something I'm touching. This is something that I basically say verbatim in a video I'm working on that's going to be out soon. Not to try to like plug my shit. I didn't mean to do that.
Go for it.
Like when it comes to the kunai, it's a pain in the ass to play against because in general, when it comes to game design and game balance, players fucking hate it when their efforts are invalidated. Yeah. For example, you're shooting at a spy who's walking up to your teammate. After he, let's say he just backstabs somebody, he's got 200 health. You deal your well-placed 200 damage. He then backstabs your teammate, gets it all back, and then escapes, right?
Yeah.
Fuck you, all of your efforts are for nothing. Try again, right?
Yeah.
That is never fun to play against. Players handle and tolerate a little bit of pushback, right? They don't mind, like, the medigun doing a set rate of healing. They don't mind trickle in health. But if you immediately invalidate everyone's efforts and just say, sorry, try again, that always sucks to play against. It's why weapons like the Deadringer are inherently flawed for a game like TF2, because like, oh, hey, they're not even TF2, but for any game, it's like, oh, hey, you thought you killed this guy? Sorry, he's still alive. Try again.
Yeah.
It's never fun to play against. It's by design a shitty thing to put in a video game, right?
Because it's like oh, sorry, I'll let you finish.
No, you're good. You're good.
It's like the clip from the Half-Life documentary that came out recently where Gabe Newell's like, what makes a game fun? It's when the world reacts to what you're doing because people want to feel like they have an effect.
Yeah, and so when your efforts when your efforts are invalidated by just someone using a different weapon, that really is sucky to play against. And the thing about the kunai is that personally, and I'm going to get pushback for saying this, I think the weapon needs a complete rework of some kind, something that keeps the spy tanky, but also not invalidating the efforts of the player to make it annoying to play against. I think that's absolutely what's needed, because right now it just allows the spy to be a belligerent tank that never dies and exploiting janky hitboxes if you have a high enough level of skill. And if you have a high enough level of skill as a spy, you can effectively almost never die, and it's just a royal pain in the ass to play against. This is also why. Sorry, I have one more thing. Sorry, I'm
go for it.
I'm pissed off because I hate the kunai.
Anger. Vitriol.
This is also why burst healing in TF2 is very rare, and very hard to get, right? The exception being the crossbow, because the crossbow can burst heal by like 150 from across the map if you spam it. But this is why burst healing is typically way less common than, say, trickle health, right? Like with a set rate of healing, and like other health on hit weapons like the Conqueror or the Mad Milk or the Black Box. They typically drip feed health rather than instantly and fully replenish it in one go, right? Again, players can tolerate a little bit of pushback. Like if they get half their health back, okay, that's not as much of a pain in the ass. But suddenly if they buff themselves to triple of their base health from 70 to 210, oh fuck, that sucks, right?
Yeah. May I propose a potential rework that maintains the spirit of the weapon, but makes it a little bit less bad?
Yes.
What if, instead of health back on kill, the spy, upon being given upon getting a backstab, gets, like, I don't know, maybe, we could say maybe up to 3, I don't know how you want to do this, but, like, an amount of, per backstab, of, like, armor slots, and bear with me.
Like a damage resistance main.
No, not even. I mean, like, he gets one hit that he doesn't take damage from per backstab. So that so
Okay.
so that way, and this could potentially offer some like risk reward when it comes to avoiding certain weapons, because obviously there are weapons in this game that do like multiple hits. You want to avoid those, obviously, if you were doing this. But you would be able to survive things like a crit rocket or a direct hit, for like once per backstab, and maybe it maxes out like 3 or something.
Yeah, and you can surf it. Oh, you can surf it away.
Yeah.
I still, it still kind of touches on the problem of it nullifying the efforts of a player and shooting them. It's like, sorry, that did no damage, and then they surf your damage away. I don't know how I feel
could
about
see
that
it.
one.
I could see it being a little bit less obnoxious though, because you could
It wouldn't
if you
snowball as hard.
yeah, if you pester the spy enough, it's not like he can snowball off of your team, because there are a lot of weapons in this game that do multi damage. Pyro is still going to kill that spy very quickly because
Oh,
Pyro.
of course, yeah.
But so it makes him weak to certain things while also maintaining that he is strong against other things.
Yes.
Which I think gives him enough, like, gives it enough wiggle room to where he could get away. It still it keeps his identity, but it doesn't make it too obnoxious to fight against. That would
So
be,
he gets crocketed and is left with 1 health, kind of thing.
I was just gonna say he's left with whatever health he had when he, like, by default. Like it's basically like you have 1 get out of jail free card, and then you're
Yeah.
out of there.
I wish I had an answer or a solution for a kunai rework, but I've yet to come up with anything that would make sense. I
Okay.
can't think of one. I've tried for a long time. I can't think of anything.
Yeah.
I'm also not a game designer, so it's like I'm not going to be able to pull out an elegant solution immediately. But like for a while, I have not, for like since I started working on this video, I have not been able to think of like a decent idea to propose. All I can say is that I greatly dislike the way the kunai is currently designed.
The people in chat are just telling me that health regen is the only thing that makes sense, and I don't think that's fair. I don't think I don't like the kunai in its current state personally.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of it either.
I think the best thing that the kunai currently offers TF2 is that in TF2 times 10, it's funny.
That's true.
It's very, very funny. You just it's too funny.
Most things are funny in times 10.
That's fair. That's all.
I'm not sure. I really don't know what could replace the kunai's current stats. I genuinely don't know.
Okay, wait. So, I have other proposal. This would maybe make the weapon awful, but I think it'd be really cool, so I'm proposing anyways. When you backstab people, it doesn't give you health, but it gives people on your team in an unspecified radius in amount, like it distributes the health to all of them.
Oh man, that'd be interesting. But then it's also not that often realized, because most of the time Spy is acting away from his team.
Yeah, that was my only contention. I just like it hypothetically, if you could coordinate with a team push into the enemy line at the same time that you backstab people, that'd be really, really cool. But I imagine I could see it being really situational. You might have to give it some other buff so it would be useful, but that's an interesting thought.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't think of a way to make this right for Spy. I need to think about it more.
Yeah. Anyways, we have a video.
Never die, basically, but I understand why spy players are so insistent on using it. I just think it's too good at the job it's been given, too rewarding against bad players, and too punishing towards good players. I think that the kunai is Spy's best and most overpowered weapon because it effectively changes his role from glass cannon to tank with no real downsides.
Yeah,
But on the subject of
Yeah, I agree.
overpowered weapons with no real downsides, there is the Diamondback, which is just too much for too little. At least catching out a kunai spy before they snowball will kill them more quickly than if they had used any other item in the game.
See, I feel like this has now turned into like a general complaining about Spy video, where it's like, oh, kunai's overpowered, and now the Diamondback is broken.
Yeah, we've gone off the track of spies. The spy is a class that you would never pick for any reason, and now we're just like the Diamondback's broken, kunai's broken.
Yeah, I feel like he's gone off the rails a bit.
A little bit, yeah.
Backstabbing people are Spy's only 2 jobs with no real degree of variation, and the Diamondback gives you free crits for each of these you accomplish.
Person in chat who recommended that instead of HP, Spy gets Ubered for a second after every stab. Why would you do that?
That'd be rough.
That would be awful.
That'd be very rough.
That's gross. I'm like, that made me my blood pressure was raised by that idea. I'm calling out that person in chat.
And with no range limit like the Ambassador, and no way to tell if the spy has crits while he's disguised, this essentially removes any form of counterplay. It turns spy into something between a scout and a sniper in terms of power, for nothing except a negligible damage penalty when he doesn't have crits, which is hardly impactful. Of course, a couple of poorly...
Yeah, it's just true.
But he has to destroy something with his sapper to get it, right?
Or
sap
back
or stab.
So, or stab. Okay, that's a little...
Yeah, the once you add that he also gets it from a backstab, it's like, oh.
Well, I mean, you get a crit from every building destroyed, so all you have to do is like go to like an unattended teleporter, and then boom, you have crits.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Yeah, but you have one crit, right?
You have 2.
Well, with the teleporter, since you get both ends, you get 2.
Oh, damn. You're right.
You can kill a heavy. Congrats.
Couldn't.
Balanced unlocks are hardly the be-all, end-all for dictating whether or not a class is balanced. Every class has
So basically, everything I just said was whatever.
at least one totally busted weapon, or at least a really stupidly designed one. Sometimes you get to be sniper
Critical.
Or stupidly. I like the bison. What are you talking about?
Critical.
and have a whole bunch of stupidly designed weapons. Why does my main have the dumbest unlocks in the game? But it feels like Spy almost needs to abuse the most busted weapons in his kit just to stand a chance of going any higher than 1-to-1 in his KDR against semi-competent players. There's so many issues.
Sorry.
Yeah, stock Spy is really good, dude. Don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, I think I just recommend playing Spy more.
Yeah, stock Spy is really good. You can definitely get 2 kills and then die. You've done it multiple times in your footage.
Yeah, you've done things
Yeah,
in here.
yeah. There's more to Spy than just this.
Plaguing Spy.
He's done that. He got multiple clips earlier without using the kunai. Perish the thought.
Yeah. He was using the spicicle of all things.
Yeah.
Too.
Yeah. I would use the spicicle because I like the effect it has when you stab people.
I think it's cute.
I think it's cute as well.
It's cute.
Yeah.
Going any higher than 1-to-1 in his KDR against semi-competent players. There's so many issues plaguing Spy, from bugs all the way down to the core of his class, and it just kind of bums me out. A part of me would really like to see Spy.
It's really mostly bugs.
It's
bugs are the biggest thing. I think he's reduced the class to being inherently flawed for some reason, and I greatly disagree with that.
Yeah, he has not proved that at all.
No.
Viable in general, not just in a competitive setting, which I guess is something else to talk about.
Oh boy, here we go.
Communication is a Spy's biggest weakness. Just pressing the V button on your keyboard and telling someone to turn around is enough to make sure that Spy never stands a chance. So in a competitive setting where people are always in communication with each other, even in Highlander where running Spy is required, Spy struggles so much hard. In fact, despite Highlander being the one game mode where Spy is actually consistently run competitively, I would argue it's actually one of the worst places for Spy to perform because everything is stacked against him.
Yeah, maybe because this game was not designed for competitive formats in which everyone is in constant coordinated communication. Maybe because this game was not meant to be competitive in that sense, and the classes were not designed for that specific environment. Maybe that's why, and that's not indicative that there's a greater problem with the class at all. Just saying.
I don't know why you would include this in this video.
just saying, man, that you should not be using any competitive arguments that in order to dictate whether or not something is broken or balanced at all, because it's just a completely different environment that the game was not designed for.
I don't think I would, if I were making this video, I would not touch competitive play because I don't think it's fair.
I agree. I agree completely.
Yeah. I would discuss it. If I were discussing it, I would discuss it maybe in a separate video, and I would engage with it very differently.
Yeah.
But then he put the competitive tier list at the beginning of this video. Sounds what the fuck?
For that is, it's the only game mode where Spy is run consistently. Your team is required to have a Spy at all times, meaning if there's a suboptimal situation for Spy, there's nothing he can do about it. He can't switch off to a more effective class. That's just a flaw with
the fucking competitive mode. It's not something wrong with the Spy. it's like that's the difference. Like in casual, you're not forced to play Spy. Yes, you're gonna pick Spy when he's the most optimally required. But like obviously in compy modes, when you have to run Spy, yeah, he's not always gonna be perfect because that's not what the game was designed for. Fuck. Sorry.
Could you imagine?
I'm angry. I hate this argument so much.
Yeah, I just don't. I don't know why you would argue for game balance and site competitive play where the game balance is so vastly different than it is in pubs. I just don't.
I am greatly perturbed. I'm very upset.
Like, I can tell.
I don't like this. I don't like this argument. I want to smack him with a carp.
Oh no. I think a trout would make a more satisfying noise.
So I beat him upside the head with a freshly caught trout.
Yeah, there we go.
Grr.
Yeah, I don't like the conflation of competitive and casual either. It's not my thing.
Yeah.
For Spy to perform because everything is stacked against him. And one of the reasons for that is it's the only game mode where Spy is run consistently. Your team is required to have a Spy at all times, meaning if there's a suboptimal situation for Spy, there's nothing he can do about it. He can't switch off to a more effective class. He's forced to play against the Pyro. And
What? Yes, by the format. What?
Yeah, via the format that was created by the community. Therefore, there's something inherently wrong with the game.
Yeah,
because
that
he's
has
always
nothing to
forced
do
play
with
against Pyro.
What the fuck? There is probably a game mode where Pichu is the best character in Super Smash Bros. Melee. That game mode probably exists.
Yeah, and you could do the same thing for Spy as well. You could force a situation. It's like competitive TF2 could have gone in an infinite number of directions, but they made it in such a way that Spy sucks. At least for Highlander. I mean, also for 6v6, right? Just Spy sucks just because of by nature of the design of these game modes.
Yeah,
right?
and
They
that's
could have
fine.
absolutely done something different where the inherently weak classes are now stronger.
Yeah, and that is fine. It is fine to have a competitive format where some classes are better than other classes. That is fine.
Yes, that is also fine. And if you enjoy playing it, by all means play it.
There is nothing wrong with Spy because Spy is not good in Highlander. That has nothing to do with the balance of TF2 because community made game mode. Spy might be bad in Prop Hunt. We don't know. That was.
Oh yeah, you're right. I mean, he's supposed to be the best class in Prop Hunt. He's supposed to hide.
He's supposed to. That's what they say.
Pyro can so effortlessly shut down a Spy that I genuinely think the interaction between the two classes is not even remotely balanced.
What? Yes.
Use a gun.
He's a even. What? this argument.
Use a gun.
This baffles me. Even
But
if
it's not meant to be balanced.
Yeah, I was gonna
He's a
say even if it
counter.
were true, even if you let's say Spy has no gun. If Pyro beats Spy, that's fine. That's his job.
Yeah,
You established.
that's the purpose of the class. It's like complaining that the interaction between an engineer and a spy is unbalanced because he can sap his buildings and backstab him, and then it's all over, right?
Just like why the whole point
That's
of
what the class is supposed to do.
Yeah, it's just like, oh my gosh, medic can't beat soldier. What am I gonna do? Oh gosh.
Yeah,
That-
that's true.
This interaction is not
This
balanced.
interaction's not balanced. It's like there's a 5-year-old and then there's like a guy with a baseball bat and he's really angry. It's like this interaction this interaction is not balanced at all.
No.
Life needs a patch.
Oh,
It's
man.
one of the worst examples of a hard counter in the game.
Hard
Because it's
counters
so
are okay. They
effortless
can
for
exist.
a Pyro to ruin a
This is-
Spy that it's downright trivial to do so by complete accident. And more importantly,
What? That sentence didn't make sense. Whatever.
everyone on the enemy team is in constant communication with each other, and they always know there's going to be a Spy there, meaning the Spy loses out on his main utility, the element of surprise. Not to say that Spy is worthless in Highlander or anything. Obviously he makes plays and gets picks in there, and there's plenty of situations where even experienced players will have no choice but to put all of their attention on a bigger threat, besides the idea of a Spy behind them.
The
But I
spy,
feel-
so in Highlander, the spy exists to kill the enemy sniper so the medic doesn't die to him and they can push with an Uber and win. That's the only reason why spy exists in Highlander, is to kill the sniper so the medic doesn't die. That's it. And then maybe get the medic if he doesn't deal with the sniper first.
For the record, I have no experience in TF2 competitive.
Yeah, and anyone who has experience in Highlander, they understand that like spy is not meant to be run as the constant, always effective thing. He only exists to kill the sniper or the medic, and then if he happens to get anybody else, then he's automatically promoted to platinum in terms of league play, right? Because you have steel, silver, gold, platinum. So platinum being the best spy players. If you get anyone else other than medic or sniper playing Highlander, you get platinum, and that's it. you are a god in Highlander.
Nice. Also, someone in chat said the counterpick of soap against my gamer body is too unfair.
That's
Oh, that's horrible.
It's pretty good, yeah.
Like the Highlander environment isn't necessarily the best place for Spy to thrive in. Now, I think there's one
But then why is he used?
Then why even make the argument?
Yeah, it was like, why is he there? Why would you use him? Is it required that you use Spy? Is that like a requirement by the format, or is it just the meta?
Yes, in Highlander, one of every class is always played, period.
Oh, okay. Thank
Both
you.
teams. That's
All
how Highlander works. One of every class is present, so it's 9v9.
Okay, cool. I was just curious. Thank you.
last thing to bring up, and that's a what if scenario. What if nothing I just mentioned was a problem? What if Spy was just amazing and consistent and just as good as everyone else, like the scout, the soldier, and the sniper? Well,
You have not proved that he is not. I would agree that he's not, but you have not proven that at all.
I didn't. Okay, so I stopped watching when he started getting into competitive because I just had to click it off because I was just like, I don't want to listen to this anymore. So I haven't seen this part.
Awesome.
I'm curious as to what his hypothetical is. What is his hypothetical scenario?
Yeah, I'm excited to. This is gonna be great.
it's as good as everyone else, like the scout, the soldier, and the sniper. Well, if you ask me, he would be the single most annoying fucking class in the entire game. Spy's entire job depends on him killing you while you can't possibly be aware of him. This makes Spy feel incredibly luck-based on both sides of the fight. Is your team fucking garbage? Well, a Spy can just roll on through, basically undeterred. Has your team used a mouse and keyboard before? Sorry, Spy, better luck next time. There's a
That's
reason.
incredibly reductive.
That's not even true. That's just.
That's a non-argument because and so if we go back to his argument of like giving him the super knife, yeah, it would make him far more annoying to play against, but that doesn't still automatically invalidate the inherent downsides that the class has. You can still, even though I argued against this argument earlier, you can still turn around. You can still be aware that a Spy is present, right? Like, just because he suddenly has a speed boost or he can have a silent backstab or he gets health on kill doesn't just suddenly mean that the Spy is now this awful thing that's always present. It's such a weird argument to make.
The narrative pushed by this video seems to be that like if Spy is effective, they are a god at the game. If Spy is not effective, that's just Spy existing. Unless, of course, the other team, and if the Spy is effective, then the team must be bad. Those are the only two situations
so
in which Spy can be good. I just like
It's like, okay, I mean, it's like that's also an argument that could be made for any other class. Like, if you're playing against a team that is better than you, no matter what you're playing, you're gonna lose. Right?
Yeah, like well, no, unless like you could play against a team that's better than you and still win, but like objectively you shouldn't. Like if we're somehow quantifying skill, I get what you mean. I get what you mean.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah, I get what you mean.
If you're playing against a team that's just kicking your ass, it doesn't matter what you're playing. You're gonna lose. You're getting your ass handed to you on a silver platter.
Yeah, and if you somehow single-handedly win that game for your team against a team that is on average better than your team, that means you are probably really good at the game. Or your team is garbage, and that's why you lose. It's like this isn't rocket science. It's like this is every class.
Yeah, and this is why things like Team Scramble exist to like fix this issue. Like that is a role, right?
Yeah.
And then you scramble the teams, and then it goes back to being a balanced game.
I just don't understand how you could. It's not like you pick Spy and you lose if the team is good. That's not how this works.
Yeah.
Fucking garbage? Well, a Spy can just roll on through, basically undeterred. Has your team used a mouse and keyboard before? Sorry, Spy, better luck next time. There's a reason that most pub stomper Spies will just re-queue over and over again until they get into a server where the majority is in the former camp.
That's just being a sourpuss.
I was gonna say. Also, does he have evidence? I would like evidence.
Is that true?
Is that true?
I don't think so.
I've never heard of this before.
No, that's the first time I've heard people doing that. I'll re-queue if a game sucks, then I'm not having fun. But I've never re-queued because I was playing bad as Spy, or I was having a bad time as Spy. I would just change the class until the opportunity presents itself for Spy to be effective. Because in this game, where it's encouraged to change classes based on the environment you're in or what's going on, that's what you should be doing instead of like forcing yourself to play one class all the time.
Yeah, is he talking about competitive here though? Where you?
No, game.
No, he is. We've run away from. He talked about competitive for like 3 minutes. Not even 3 minutes of us talking. I think it's like 10 seconds in real time. Someone in chat has a friend who is a spy main and does this. So actually, he's right. Everyone does this.
So there's one.
Yeah, no, that means
one example.
That means it's true.
Means all of them do it.
Yeah, it means all of them do it. That's how this works.
I'm friends with Starry Crow. I should ask him that. I don't think he does that.
I've spoken to Mr. Swipes once. Damn it. Yeah, we can keep going.
Even decent players adapt to a spy's presence quickly. If you've ever noticed how you do really well as spy at the start of a round, but then start to suck ass as time goes by, that's why.
Is it projection? Question mark?
Projection, and also applicable to like anything. It's like if you're aware of the presence of a class and what he's doing, he becomes a less effective automatically. That's just
and
part
maybe
of
they
the
pick
game.
up an extra pyro or two.
I've never.
It's like, why are people counterpicking me playing Pharah and Overwatch?
Why would you ever pick Widowmaker? I don't understand.
I don't know.
This is an interesting.
Oh God.
What the? It wasn't like a vibration. It wasn't even words.
I don't even know what that sounded like.
It sounded. That was wild.
Sorry. This shitty mic.
If you've ever noticed how you do really well as spy at the start of a round, but then start to suck ass as time goes by, that's why. You're just being accounted for.
Because people are counterpicking.
And spy doesn't
I mean,
have counterplay.
I experienced that, but I mean, it's not like a guarantee all the time.
I have never noticed that before, but that could just be a lack of experience on my end.
Could be.
I don't know.
To people knowing he exists outside of trick stabs. And while
What the fuck? Wait, huh?
What?
Wait, no.
Okay, he's getting into like. Let's see. I want to see what he says.
a spy
Let's
at the
see.
start of a round, but then start to suck ass as time goes by, that's why. You're just being accounted for, and spy doesn't have counterplay to people knowing he exists outside of trick stabs. And
Wait
while trick
until they're
stabs can be
distracted.
very effective, they're not only unreliable, but extremely predictable to anyone with experience. Hell, sometimes
That's
a
with
trick stab is so easily
Yeah, that's just universally true.
That's just universally true for everything in this game.
Yeah.
countered.
You would have, if you were wanting to make this point, you'd have to prove that for some reason spy is more counterable by experience, and I don't know if you could make that point. Like you would have to find a way to do that.
It's completely invalidated by just standing still. But if there's no way to account for spy, then that's going to be incredibly frustrating because spy's purpose as a class is to punish you for playing the game and focusing on your target instead of whipping around every 5 seconds like you're trying to crack a kink in your neck you've had for 5 years. At its core, that is just irritating. Spy is a fundamentally annoying class to fight against.
How do you? Okay, all right.
I'm a little lost with that one.
I have no idea. So I'll translate for you. I know what he's saying. He's saying because spy's design means that if spy has counterplay, he dies way too quickly and isn't fun to play. But if spy did not have counterplay, if there was no hard counter to spy, he would be obnoxious to fight against and would be broken. That is,
Someone
I
doesn't
believe,
play heavy very often.
I believe that is what he is saying.
Yeah, that's people. I'm seeing your chat saying sniper main take.
I don't understand. I don't think this is. I just don't get it. How you cannot? How is a class fundamentally annoying? How do you do that? There's certainly there are situations in which sniper is not annoying to play as or to play against. Like those situations exist.
Yeah, those situations exist, and I'm still trying to wrap my head around what he just said here because it's still the synapses are not firing on this one at all. Can you replay that part?
Yeah, we can roll them back.
Yeah, roll back. I need to
Instead
listen
of
to that
whipping
again.
around every 5 seconds like you're trying to
roll back a little bit more.
Hell, sometimes a trick stab is so easily countered, it's completely invalidated by just standing still. But if there's no way to account for spy, then that's going to be incredibly frustrating because spy's purpose as a class is to punish you for playing the game and focusing on your target instead of whipping around every 5 seconds like you're trying to crack a kink in your neck you've had for 5 years.
Is that not sniper?
What?
Is that also not sniper? Punishing you for playing the game and addressing the target that's immediately in front of you because you can't engage him at the back line.
I don't understand. I don't get it. Like, he just said a bunch of words and those words don't connect in the way that they should. Like, he said sniper is a class that is supposed to be a class that prevents you from playing the game instead of constantly checking for him all the time. But
and I guess that means spy is asked to play against and sniper is not. That's probably not the argument he's making, but
no, certainly not. But man, I just the way he words sentence, brain no work. My synapses stopped firing after going over it again, because then I was like, wait, what did he actually say?
Yeah, I'm.
This is
I don't know.
Redraft scripts. This is a PSA. If you are a YouTuber, redraft your scripts, please. This sentence could have done the way this is worded.
Spend a lot of time writing and revising, and this
sentence hurted me.
At its core, that is just irritating. Spy is a fundamentally annoying class to fight against, assuming you're not killing him immediately after catching him out, because you're not actually ever fighting a spy unless he gets into a gunfight with you. You're either dying to him or instantly killing him.
That's what.
That's sniper. It's like.
Also, yes. That is literally sniper, but also, what the fuck? The idea that could be said about I think every single class on the face of the planet.
Yes, it can.
You are not we are in a boxing match. You are either the boxer is either hitting you or you are hitting the boxer. There is time in between, but we're not going to acknowledge that. Like, what the fuck? This is ridiculous. This could apply to anything if you want it. Deeply flawed statement. I just don't.
Very.
It's what in the world? Alan, do you have thoughts?
I like Dominic in your chat. You are not engaging with him unless you get into a gunfight with him. It's like that's like you just said. That's every engagement. Like if you're not, God. Yeah, I don't like this argument.
Yeah, Alan, thoughts?
I got a little lost, if I'm being honest.
It took me a minute to get up to speed with what he was trying to say here.
He's just like, if you are either killing him or you're dying to him. There is no in between. It's just like what.
Which is more true for spy, maybe, but it's true for everyone as well.
I think the correct statement, or the thing he's maybe trying to say, is best faith interpretation. He's saying that it's killing spy is so fast that it is basically you are killing him or he is killing you, because of how quickly he dies and how quickly he kills you, which once again, the sniper, but also even I just don't even agree with. I don't even think I describe sniper that way. I would describe sniper more that way than I would spy, but I think there's certainly time in between being killed and killing sniper or spy or any other class that's just not being acknowledged here. And if you're gonna say it for spy, you could say it for every single class. I don't agree.
Yeah, it's silly.
Yeah.
Annoying class to fight against, assuming you're not killing him immediately after catching him out, because you're not actually ever fighting a spy unless he gets into a gunfight with you.
You know the thing. This is a small YouTuber rant. This is a thing, right? This is one of those videos where I feel like if most people listen to it, they're eating their food or they're going through their day, and they just kind of finish it and they go, they like nod and they're like, yeah, I agree. And then they move on.
Pay attention and dissect it even for a moment. You can pick apart almost the entire video.
Yeah, it just doesn't.
We've been doing.
Yeah, it just doesn't really line up with what. I think a lot of people believe that Spy has issues, so they see the title of the video, they agree with the premise of the video, and then they move on, and they don't really dissect like what is actually being said or any of the arguments being made. This is why structuring is really important, because it allows you to have, different points in the video where you could have, this is the main topic that I'm talking about here, this is the main topic that I'm talking about here, where he just kind of talks over gameplay footage and has things that come up on screen occasionally, but there's nothing to really segment it, where this is what I'm talking about here, and this is what I'm talking about here. Yeah. And I think that would be a major improvement.
I agree.
You're either dying to him or instantly killing him, pretty much the same as a sniper. And
he did it. He's self-aware. We got it.
We got there. We got there in the end.
We got there. Yes.
Instantly killing the spy is obviously not very fun for him and feels very luck-based on his end, but the alternative also sucks because these interactions are so rarely going to feel fair on the part of the backstab as well. Were you just busy playing the game, focusing on something important, and got backstabbed? Well,
I'm
that's
sorry.
annoying
That's
because you're
part of the game too, man. You
Have
you have to
game
be aware
awareness.
that spy is a thing in TF2, and you have to take that into account, right?
And
It's like
maybe
it's
you
like
could-
oh it's like the same stupid argument people say for sniper 2. It's like, oh well, just don't go into a sight line. Shouldn't you have known there should have been a sniper there? It's like the same argument can be made for spy. Well, shouldn't you know that spies play this game? People play spy. You should turn around every so often, right? And spy check.
Yeah, just pay game awareness. Have game awareness. You said earlier in the video that's one of that spy's biggest counter. Just have game awareness.
Yeah. God.
The alternative also sucks because these interactions are so rarely going to feel fair on the part of the backstab as well. Were you just busy playing the game, focusing on something important, and got backstabbed?
The
Well,
spy
that's annoying.
being behind you might be something important that you might want to focus on. as well.
Were you focusing on something important? It's just another spy.
And also like and something else to say too. It's like, yeah, you should be aware that a sniper exists, but that doesn't automatically make him like a balanced class, right?
Yeah.
Because for a spy, being aware of him is very powerful. But even for a sniper, it's like if you're aware of him, there is no counterplay.
Yeah.
Unless you run sniper yourself or try to go spy and get behind him, right?
Or don't go into sight lines.
Or just don't go into that part of the map, I guess.
Yeah, just ignore that part of the map. It doesn't exist anymore. You can find another flank route. It's fine.
Because you're just being punished for playing the fucking game. Did you catch out?
What? I hate it when this is a common phrase. This isn't just FishStick. Saying you get punished for playing the game to describe you dying is I hate it.
Skill issue again. Sorry.
It's
I
not
hate-
even.
I hate-
It's
I hate-
just it's just like you are doing something in the game, and it's like you're punished for playing. I'm like, what the? You played the game. You downloaded the game. You clicked the class. You were going to get killed in said game. If you don't do things to prevent yourself from being killed, it is more likely that you will die. That's not you getting punished for playing the game unless you take it entirely literally.
Yes.
It's a non-statement, you know? It's so frustrating. We got 4 more minutes, we can do it.
Spy, but he got a bullshit face stab on you anyway? That's even worse because it feels like the spy just lucked his way out of an assured death.
What even happened?
When no other class can really do that. Hell, I think even people who hate close range quickscopes would have to concede that the sniper at least did that on purpose, even if they don't think it's balanced.
Okay, Zesty, I'll let you go. I just want to say, I would not concede at all that all sniper mains who get quickscope headshots do it on purpose. I would wager that most of them probably randomly flick and then miss. And then someone moves into their crosshair that in like a non-predictable way. I think that happens.
And that also doesn't like suddenly doesn't like make it okay. Like, oh yeah, he was at least intentionally trying to do this, therefore it's not a problem, right?
Yeah.
Was the spy also not trying to intentionally get a backstab, but then game jank makes him get a face stab? I mean,
well, yeah,
he's still trying to kill you.
Yeah,
the intent is still there.
Yeah, this isn't
right?
even actually. This is a false equivalency. These aren't even the same. These aren't even the same
they're
thing.
Not.
Yeah, because
you're right.
In one situation, the spy is trying to get a stab and gets it just for bad reasoning. In the other situation, they also are trying to do something. Actually, it's the opposite. It's a
false not equivalent.
It's a false non-equivalency. Sorry, my bad.
Yeah.
Thanks, Alan. Inequivalency.
Yeah, that was my point. Is like these are
these are
can't compare these two things.
Yeah.
And I can tell you from experience, that is not the case with a lot of face stabs that I've gotten. So balancing spy is incredibly challenging. You either run the risk of making his entire class redundant, or else intensely frustrating to fight. And spy, and sniper for that matter, are already frustrating enough to fight as it stands. Mix this with the sheer inconsistency with melee hit registration, backstab registration, client-side and server-side bullshit, and overall...
That would have been something nice to talk about in more detail, because it really matters.
Yeah, that is what is inherently wrong with the spy, is that he is at the mercy of source jank.
Yeah.
For his primary mechanic, he is at the mercy of source jank.
Yes.
That should have been the primary focus of the video, and bugs.
Yes.
Right.
One could argue those are one and the same, but I understand.
Yeah.
An extremely polarizing experience that makes determining what is and isn't good in the first place incredibly difficult, and I don't envy Valve in the slightest for not being sure what to do with this guy over the years. I've heard the argument before that when Valve was designing Sniper, they didn't account for people to clock in several thousand hours with him and become unstoppable masters of the class.
Oh, they designed Sniper badly? That's crazy.
Well, you know, and that's also a non-argument because that was just a bad design choice from the game out of the get-go. It wasn't because they weren't expecting people to have 7,000 hours as a class. It's because they put a class in the game that doesn't have any inherent mechanical downsides that keep his abilities in check. He's also the one that sticks out like a sore thumb because he's the only class that can be effective away from the team fight, in which no one else can directly engage with him unless they play Sniper or Spy.
Could you imagine? Right? Could you imagine if the 10th class, there's a 10th class in TF2, right? And we'll call him like the code breaker, okay? And at the beginning of each match, he doesn't get to move. He stays in the intel room. And if he can do like complex brain surgery before the end, he can win the match for his team. Like he just wins the game and no one else gets to play if he can do brain surgery perfectly. He has to buy like a separate controller, like it's an operation, like a apparatus, and he has to like do it live.
I see what you're getting at.
Yeah. And everyone was just like, well, you know, it's balanced because, you know, brain surgery is hard.
Yeah, and because brain surgery is hard, then if you get really good at it, then it's no longer hard, right?
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that the inherent mechanic is flawed, right? Because inherently, if you perform one action and the entire game ends, that's the problem. And this goes back to the argument of just because something is hard doesn't mean it's inherently balanced.
Yeah, I think that when people like, and then like, Fish is over here just like, oh well, they put the brains when they pushed the brain surgery into the game. They didn't think that people would be so good.
They didn't think people would
could
get
do
doctorates.
it really quickly.
They didn't think people would learn brain surgery. It's like
no, yeah, it's just using mechanics that are inherently flawed out of the gate. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Didn't account for people to clock in several thousand hours with him and become unstoppable masters of the class. Well, if that's the case, then by that same token, I can say with absolute certainty that when designing Spy, they didn't account for people to clock in several thousand hours fighting him and learning all of his tricks. Well, it's all fun.
That's not an argument, right?
It's not an argument at all because
it's not an argument.
The tricks still work against, like, again, the point of the class is to exploit when people are not paying attention to you, right? Which happens all the time.
Yep.
People aren't constantly looking behind them 24/7. You have to exploit when they're engaging the rest of the team.
Yeah,
right.
like,
It's like, even knowing all the tricks does not save you. Trust me. I have 10,000 hours in this game. I still die to Spy.
Yeah. Yes. Just because you know what Spy is going to do does not mean you know how he's going to do it, when he's going to do it, or where he's going to do it, and that's usually how Spy gets you.
Fine and dandy to point out the flaws with Spy, and it's certainly easy, and I'm far from the first one to do so. But
that's crazy. Like he didn't do that. Whatever.
Coming up with solutions to help fix this, that's a lot harder, and something I just don't have all the answers for. If you ask me, Spy needs a way to solidify his niche as a unique pick class so he doesn't feel overshadowed by Sniper. Spy is already such a unique class in terms of his playstyle, but in terms of the end result, it's so similar to Sniper and also kind of Demo Knight that it makes it feel almost not worth it because in the sense that in the sense that they both have melee weapons that do damage, I agree.
But also in the sense that you're a close range, like 1v1, near insta-kill class. The same could be said for Scout. Would it not be redundant because Spy and Scout have a lot of similarities too?
Yep.
All of these things play very differently.
I thought
they may ultimately reach the same goal of killing one player at a time very quickly, but that doesn't mean that it's redundant.
Yeah.
Those options are either a lot easier or a lot safer. Spy doesn't need to become some kind of high damaging generalist like Scout or Soldier, but he doesn't need to stay in Sniper's shadow either. The tricky thing about finding a new area for Spy to specialize in is that not only does it require—
He doesn't need a new area.
He doesn't need—
He's doing great. He's doing great at what he's doing.
He's doing his best.
He's doing his best. He can kill a medic heavy combo and get away.
It's like saying, Soldier can't, Demo Man doesn't have any hit scan, so he's really weak against hit scan. We should try to get him a new role where he's more powerful against hit scan because he can't be effective here. He's overshadowed by Scout. he's overshadowed by heavy and sniper and anyone else who has hit scan, right?
Yeah.
Like, I just immediately use that same logic for Demo Man. Therefore, Demo Man needs this new role to be more effective against hit scan.
It's just like, no, he's good. He can do what he's either. If you think he's bad at what he's currently doing, make him better at it. It's not so complicated. People, I feel like when they rebalance things, take like how the player feels about what's going on way too much into account, rather than just like making a standard for like, this is what's good and this is what's bad, and here is the philosophy of which we're going to balance the game.
See,
Like,
I think game developers should take into account player satisfaction both on the giving and receiving end, but you're right in that a standard needs to be set, and just because some people find it annoying doesn't mean that it warrants changes.
so when I say like players' feelings shouldn't matter, I'm not talking about like the developers. I'm talking about when people propose like design changes. So what I mean is
How do you mean?
when we have like balance, we're balancing a game, right? I think that how the player feels fighting something, if what they're fighting is balanced, they should not. It is most people, if they're fighting something that they recognize to be balanced, will not be upset by it. And if they are, as they get better at the game, it is less likely that they will be upset by it, by human nature. Because when you're fighting something that's unfair versus when you're fighting something that's fair, that means that when you're fighting something that's fair, you are more likely to respect what you're fighting and not feel as bad about it. If we operate under that base principle, then we should not be thinking about. We should just be saying, well, we should make this balanced and fair to fight, and that's all we have to do. If we make this balanced and fair to fight, then the people who don't like that, they will be dwarfed by the people who probably don't care or are fine with it,
or don't mind, and therefore the game is not for you.
And that's So when we're like, if we're balancing Spy, and you're like, well, I don't like that he is in this role. That's basically what he's saying. He's saying, I do not like that he's in this role, and it's like, okay, that's fine, but he is in this role. There's nothing inherently wrong with this role, you know. There's nothing inherently bad or objectively bad about Spy being a saboteur as a class. That's fine. If you think he needs to be retooled, then you should argue for that, but you shouldn't argue we need to make him different or put him in a new role because his current role isn't. It makes me annoyed personally, you know. That's not how this works.
Or is less effective than someone else's role. And this goes back to what we were discussing earlier, where like, and not every class needs to be on the same playing field all the time. That's the charm of TF2, in that you change what you're playing to adapt to current gameplay situations.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know? Just because he's not viable and effective all the time, unlike Sniper, then, you know, that doesn't warrant that his role needs to be changed or things need to be changed.
Yeah.
That's why TF2 has had so many copycats over the years, is because it's a team-based game where you can change up how things are going depending on how the game is going.
Yeah, and then it gets ruined by competitive metas where it's like, nope, you will only play this one thing all the time. And then guess what happens when you do that? Shocker! It defeats the purpose of how the game was designed, being able to free-form choose what you're doing to adapt to gameplay scenarios.
Yep.
Overwatch.
Yeah. Yeah.
Called out.
Yeah. I have not found the most interest in I have not found the most interest in Overwatch's competitive scene, but you know, that might just be me.
It was fun to watch it was fun to watch its slow burn, in my opinion. That's a very lengthy discussion for another time, though.
For sure.
For Shadow either. The tricky thing about finding a new area for Spy to specialize in is that not only does it require a near complete rework of the class, whether this be through changing him at base or even adding weapons that give him a new subclass or playstyle, but it's kind of like inventing something people have always needed but didn't even realize it. Having all these cool gadgets, the theme of subterfuge, there's so much potential. I just want to see it realized.
I think this entire argument... I would agree, by the way. Yes, I think that the potential being realized is like a universal good thing, but...
I meant a little less broad than that. Like what we were talking about earlier with like, I put something in the enemy base where it like assists me when I respawn and come back next time.
Yeah,
kind of thing.
Yeah, I think that weapons or something that facilitate him being more of a spy, like in aesthetic, are good. I think that'd be cool. And I've lost the other thought that I had.
I apologize.
No, it's okay. We'll roll him back. I'm sorry.
weapons that give him a new subclass or playstyle.
Oh, I was gonna say he's kind of commenting on the novelty, the novelty.
Novelness.
Yeah, the novelty.
Thank you. Those are the novelty is wrong. The novelty of Spy as a class.
All of us here have made many new words today.
Yeah, it's fine.
I think as you're
Reductionistic,
waking up, we're getting
reductionism,
tired.
nobility.
Reductionism. I like reductionism.
We all got one.
Yeah, no, I think that I'm gonna go with it. The nobility of Spy is being commented on, and I think that this is only coming from a place of being around Spy for a while and forgetting just how unique he is and or was as a character in a game.
And still is.
Yeah, I and still is. So like I like as being like we need something new, we need something fresh. I'm just like I don't know. I think Spy is fine. Like conceptually, I don't think we need to. It's like, oh, there's so much potential and it's not realized. I'm like, I think it's pretty great, you know.
I agree. I think it's great too. But it's so funny how like a lot of these balance videos, because I've watched countless ones over the years, and anytime competitive is mentioned, it always goes back to, oh, there's so much potential. There's so much potential. The game can be more, or XYZ can be more. It can be more. It can be more. It can be more. When and this just kind of comes from what I think is an inherent dissatisfaction with the game as what it is.
Yeah.
And then it's like, then that's not an argument for things needing to be changed.
Yeah, that's just more you talking about how you're dissatisfied.
Yeah.
Which is fine. It's just don't try to mask it as an objective argument for the game's quality on any level.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like inventing something people have always needed, but didn't even realize it. Having all these cool gadgets, the theme of subterfuge, there's so much potential. I just want to see it realized. Over on my Rebalance server, we've made a few base changes to Spy.
Oh, oh boy.
What do we have?
The bullet spread is reset gradually over 1 second. Decreased base time of cloak to 7.75 seconds. So making cloaking and decloaking faster. You can press reload while holding out the sapper to see things through walls for 30 seconds.
Oh no, that's horrible. I hate that shit. Yes, allow your teams to see the entire enemy team through walls. Oh fuck.
I think it's just
horrible game design.
I would guess
I think it's just the Spy.
I think it's just
right?
the Spy. I don't think it works like I almost said Overwatch. In Overwatch.
Outlines nearby buildings and enemies for all players to see.
Oh, never mind. Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, that's
if it's just for him, I can kind of.
If it's just for him, I think it's fine. But if,
for all
for everybody,
walls,
no, yeah, that's Widowmaker.
Terrible idea.
Hey, but it highlights yourself and makes a pinging noise, so you will immediately die if you're not in a good place.
Yeah, but that gives your team such a huge advantage when trying to make a push that you can just sit out and then let the rest of your team deal with everything through a wall, but by a wall hack. That's so fucked.
Yeah, I don't like that change myself. Let's see. Disguise, hold special attack to run at normal speed. Yeah, that's about right.
That's fine. That should just be in the game.
I agree. Press reload at any time while disguised with your revolver to perform a fake revolver. Yeah, I
think that should also just be
I just think that's also
times. Like those two changes are fine.
What do you think about faster cloaking and decloaking by default?
Yeah, I think that'd be nice to have for Spy.
I think
it kind of helps him get out as well.
Yeah,
I think that would
well.
be a useful thing too. It would also allow him to exploit what a lot of people forget he has. He has a 20% damage resistance to everything when he's cloaked.
Yeah, I think
so. That would inherently allow him to be a little bit more tanky if he's caught out.
I think that this is fine. I think that the sapper change is pretty bad. But other than that, I think all of this is the revolver change is like.
I fail to understand his change to the revolver though, because the revolver already recovers from bullet spread if you delay your shots.
Maybe it's slower than normal.
I don't know. Bullet spread is reset gradually over. Is it when you're firing? It's like the longer you fire, the more accurate you get. I'm failing to understand what this change is, because like if you slowly fire your revolver, it resets after I think 0.8 of a second is when your revolver becomes perfectly accurate again.
It's supposed to make it more viable when he attempts to keep his distance. I don't know. I just don't know. I think we'd have to have him here. We'd have to have him here and ask him, because I have no idea what the point of that is.
Yeah, I'm not
like
sure.
giving
either.
his revolvers more consistent spread so he's able to defend himself better, buffing his cloak and decloak times to make picks more snappy and escapes more viable, adding a radar function to his sapper to give away enemy positions, and
Horrible.
greatly improving disguise functionality. Some of the changes made are suggestions I made in this very video, like fake reloading and being able to activate your normal spy walking speed at will.
I was gonna say, well, okay.
Those are both good.
I
Yeah,
agree.
those two again. Those two additions are totally fine. I think that'd be
I
great.
agree, but then they're in the other. They were in the other mod before. I don't know. I'm not gonna. It's fine.
I think the spotting people could work for one of those, for like what we were talking about earlier with the like devices you could put in the base. Like if you say there's a lot of enemies around here, you could put it down and it reveals them to you only
Yeah.
when you get back. So like, oh, when I'm infiltrating next time, I can sneak in easier because I can see where the people are.
If it's
already.
just for the spy, then I'm a little more okay with it. But there's a reason why wall hacks are so powerful in TF2.
Or-
that's why it's a cheat.
Or
Yeah.
because I was trying to figure out a way in my head to balance it where you could give that in like if you could somehow gather intel and like give it back to your team when you return to them physically, and then for a limited time they could see people through walls in like, I don't know, like, okay, I'm just gonna throw something at the wall. There's an item you can place on the ground, like a radar, think like Sombra's teleporter thing, but if you get back to, I don't know, some point of the map, I don't know where it would be, you could then, if you make it back without dying, you could then give that information to your team for like 10 seconds or something. I don't know. I feel like you could maybe balance it in a way where it works. I just have no idea.
Yeah.
I just have no idea how you could do it.
I think it could work. You'd have to
make it where that is like you have like sacrificed all other purposes of your class. Because like if your goal is as a spy is to go in there, set a radar or set multiple radars to give people within the radius of the radar, give those positions away, then you're sacrificing your position as a damage dealing class to basically just give wall hacks to your team, which could work because then you're fulfilling a completely different role. You just have to really retool it because
it might
wall hacks...
deviate too much from the base.
Well, that too, but like you have like classes like
if you have to replace the sapper and then have some limitations, it could work. But you really
like for me, I'm just remembering the glory days back in 2009 where you had wall hacking, all crit, no spread heavies flying around maps. You could just see you through walls.
Yeah,
and I just don't think giving wall hacks is a good thing for any video game. I personally, that's just what I think. I think it's a terrible idea.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I feel like it could work. I don't know how fun it would be.
It would work in a game that isn't TF2 or, in my opinion, any other first-person shooter.
That's probably
unless it's a very different environment.
Yeah, I could maybe agree.
Function to his sapper to give away enemy positions, and greatly improving disguise functionality. Some of the changes made are suggestions I made in this very video, like fake reloading and being able to activate your normal spy walking speed at will. So if you're cool with a nerfed kunai, then maybe some of you spy-mans out there might want to check it out. We also ended up implementing the changes to sniper that I suggested in the video covering all of his problems, and
this video has an unhealthy amount of sniper stuff in it.
Well, he's a sniper main, so
Yeah.
I know, but it's not about him.
Well,
he wasn't in the sniper. He wasn't in the sniper video talking about spy mains.
Yeah, but he's not a spy main.
I mean, this is the sniper main, brain talking here. So
I suppose.
Which there's nothing wrong with. We like our
nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with, but I mean, you're having a sniper main comment on the balancing of a spy, where this guy has a hugely disproportionate number of hours on sniper than he does on spy.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
The changes to sniper that I suggested in the video covering all of his problems,
Actually, I'm curious.
and those have proven very effective as well. I don't know if these are enough to fix everything wrong with spy and sniper, but it's a good start.
And we're done.
So out of just sheer curiosity,
What is the rest of this video? Is it just... Oh, there's a clip at the end.
There he is.
Suspiciously Death Note-shaped book appears. You're too late, Elle. I've already drawn myself as the Chad. And you as the soy jack.
I mean, okay.
Please.
So, if this is of any indication, he has 600 hours on Sniper and 190 hours on Spy.
Jesus.
So,
600. Wow.
not saying he can't comment on game balance, but that's why there's a bias towards
Yeah,
Sniper.
that's definitely an indication of something, probably.
No, not.
That's the bias.
Yeah. So that was certainly a video.
Yeah, that was a video.
Any thoughts you guys want to? Not the best video I've ever seen.
No, I mean, overall, I think it's just a really bad and frankly reductive video that doesn't really focus on what Spy's real problems are and focuses more on, you know, I guess why he's not as good as Sniper, if I had to put it in a simple way. You know, it's like it's the whole argument of why you would ever play this class when, you know, and then giving a whole bunch. I need to let me think. Hold on, I need to chew on this for a sec before I say anything I regret. Hold on.
That's fair. I want to address people in chat saying that Fish hasn't played TF2 for long enough to have an opinion. That's not how this works.
Yeah, we talked about this last time, didn't we?
Yeah, briefly. Like it does not, how much he has played the game does not matter. It might inform certain opinions he has, but if he has opinions and they're well substantiated, it shouldn't matter how many hours he has in the game. You guys would be appalled if you knew how many hours I have on the game. It would open your eyes to the fact that people with no hours or very few hours could have good opinions or bad opinions. No, yeah, it doesn't really matter.
I think you're allowed to have your opinions on the game, but I think that you need to have enough experience to have a well-informed opinion. Right?
I would just phrase it as you're more likely to have a well-informed opinion the more hours you have.
Yes, that's the perfect way of saying it. Yeah. No, overall, I think this is a pretty sour video. It does not do a good job of outlining what is inherently wrong with the Spy. I mean, most of Spy's problems amount to source jank and bugs, and he makes the implication throughout the whole video that Spy at his core is not necessarily fundamentally flawed, but fundamentally a misfit, I guess, in that because he suggests a complete redesign to, you know, I guess still appeal to the whole idea that of him being like a spy espionage thing, but what they gave him is not good enough in comparison to how the rest of the classes operate.
Yeah.
And he kind of goes through the video with this notion that, because the Spy isn't on the same playing field as the best offense classes, which is something he says, that's a problem, and we need to bring him up to the level of the classes that are meant to be offensive instead of keeping him inside of his intended role.
Yeah.
And I think that being the premise of his video is what undermines all the arguments he poses, because that's not why the Spy exists. The Spy exists to be the support class and, you know, get a couple kills, you know, sabotage sentry nests and what have you, and generally disrupt gameplay and not be a power class and not be the demo man or the soldier and have this, you know, varying degrees of efficacy across more scenarios than what the Spy is built for, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's the problem with this video.
Yeah. Lots of rambling, lots of really incoherent sentences that I think could be retooled, because I feel like he is saying something, right? I feel like he's saying something, or he's trying. There are times where I know he's trying to say things that make more sense than what I'm actually hearing in my ears. And I think that if he reworked his script a little bit, he could have a better video. And at the end of the day, I know I've seen videos from Fish that I think are better than this. I think.
Oh, yeah, he's posed way better arguments in other videos.
Yeah,
there's this one.
Yeah, agreed. There's a ton of better videos by Fish than this, and I don't want that to be lost in the fact that we are criticizing this video in particular for being a poorly structured and badly argued piece. I don't think this says anything about Fish as a person or about his content as a whole. I just think it's a miss. It's a miss.
No, yeah, and I myself have made poorly structured and poorly argued videos as well. It's like no one is exempt from that.
Irresponsibly constructed, even.
Irresponsibly constructive. I apologize. That's the right adjective.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I think that there are definitely better videos, but you know, that is why we are here. Alan, do you have any thoughts?
No, you guys summed it up pretty pretty well.
Yeah.
I don't know if I could have said it better myself.
Nice.
I think on a positive note, I think he does identify some of the issues.
Correct.
Although it's like a fraction of the length of the video.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
even if you identify them, it's like, what are you gonna do? Fix the source engine?
Yeah. Yeah.
But
So I think something else to mention too is like he brings up the issue of counterplay and mixes sniper in there a lot, because you know the issue of sniper is a lack of counterplay, and where he poses this hypothetical end all be all of like, oh, if we remove all of spy's inherent downsides, you know, that removes the counterplay that makes him balanced, right? And I think placing that implication of like, oh God, see, now I lost my train of thought, what I was trying to say about this. But he's trying to get at that counterplay for spy is too effective, I think. And I think that's like a problem he was trying to get at, like trying to like picking at like it's too easy to invalidate the presence of a spy.
right.
Because you are indeed at the mercy of mostly what your team is doing to distract the other team, right? But I don't think that means there's an inherent flaw with the spy if people are using counterplay to deal with you, right? Because
Yeah.
you yourself as the spy can still mitigate that.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think counterplay is indicative of a class's poor design, we'll say.
Yeah. Like, for example, you know, the presence of a sentry gun annihilates Scout. Like, Scout has very limited options when placed in the same room as a sentry. He's more times than not, he's going to fucking die.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? And so, but does that mean that there's an inherent problem with the Scout and it needs to be changed? No, that's just part of the game. That's
You
part
don't
of the
need to
balance.
give him a direct hit.
Yeah, exactly. You don't need to bring him up to be equally as viable as other classes that are better in that scenario.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because he's not a soldier, he's a scout.
Mm.
Yeah.
And he's not a demo man, he's a spy.
Yes.
I think that pretty much covers the video. Before we close, we have a couple of super chats to read, to cover before we close out for the night. Monsieur William said, I would like to say hi and thank you for giving Zesty an opportunity to have a platform to talk casually in a podcast format with other people. It really feels like he's the boogeyman of the TF2 community.
I guess I should say thanks for having me on. Again, I appreciate it. It's fun. I like talking about the game.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you are an enjoyable individual to talk to.
I try.
Would you describe yourself as the boogeyman of the TF2 community?
It sucks because it's like I'm at the stage where I can't even talk about myself, because if I do that, people start saying that like I'm playing victim.
Mm.
But which is really annoying, because like I can't even address how people treat me in this sphere without them then insulting me for even addressing it.
Mm.
But yes, I think at this stage, yeah, people paint me to be this fucking boogeyman, and it's a little it gets old, but
yeah,
you also get used to it.
Yeah. I knew about controversy. I learned about controversies about you all the time without ever stepping foot into Twitter or any of that sphere. I just hear things.
It dilutes through the player base.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate. Because you know it's unfortunate. Because I think that most things people say about you aren't particularly accurate. Or yeah.
I think
what I've
that's
seen.
just the nature of the internet is, you know, people say things about someone they don't even know.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Like, it's like, have you ever spoken to this person you're talking about? This is why you never see me. I mean, I shouldn't say never, but this is why you very, very rarely see me shit talking other people on like Twitter or in YouTube videos, unless they poke at me first, right?
Yeah.
because like I don't know you, I've never spoken to you, I don't know I can't judge your character. I'm not going to make these assumptions and place them on you. I don't know you.
Yeah.
But because by nature of the internet, it's very easy to do that because you only get little snippets of someone, then their entire person. Then if that's all you see, then that's all you get, and that's all you believe that they think they are, and that's
Well, yeah.
it's just life.
Yeah.
And people are usually more complex than the one or two things you hear about them.
Or yeah, like the two out of context like Discord screenshots about this fucker doesn't like strawberry ice cream. Fuck him.
Yeah. I think it is foolish to assume things about people's character based off of the few things that you hear about them. But
Yes,
people
I
do it all
agree.
the time, and it's unfortunate because nuance is unfortunately often
Nuance is dead.
Nuance is dead. Thanks to social media.
Nuance. Okay, it's not dead. Okay, it's just
It's
really
on life support.
it's struggling to tread water. It gets air every now and then, but it's certainly drowning.
Sometimes people slow down and think, oh, maybe I should think about this for a second. Like, well, maybe it's not so black and white. You know?
Maybe these people are people. But yeah, I'm glad that you can come on here and you can talk about the game in a much more tempered environment, we'll say.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, and you are welcome on here.
Anytime.
I'm just gonna fucking haunt your podcast now. I'm just gonna always be here. Like, this fucking guy. Like you could be talking about something I know nothing about, and I'll chime in like, yeah, fuck this. I don't know what this is, but fuck it.
I hate the stock market too.
Fuck the stock market. I've never played a Final Fantasy game, or I've never played a Kingdom Hearts game. Fuck Donald Duck.
We all hate Donald Duck.
Fuck Donald Duck. I have a friend. This is not related at all. I have a friend who thinks that the stock market is a myth.
Is that Michael? Is that Michael? That's Michael.
No, it's not Michael. It's a other person.
Okay.
But yeah, no, I have a friend who says the stock market's a myth and that it's all fake and it's just used to make people
awesome.
Rich. Yeah, I just thought I'd throw them out there, throw them under the bus.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It's pretty great.
Oh wait, I know who it is.
Yeah.
I'm gonna confirm later though.
No, yeah, it's who you're thinking it is. But yeah, shout out to that. Let me grab. Our second and last super chat for the day is Christopher with a K said the baby blaster is underpowered. Please buff. Thoughts?
Didn't they nerf it at some point?
Yes.
They did. They nerfed
it
for the wrong reason because initially the speed boost on hit, if I'm remembering correctly, was a lot greater, and people made up this myth that Scout was outrunning his hitbox, which was just not true.
It's just not true. Yeah.
It was just people who were bad at the game and who were not able to hit him.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, it didn't used to. Did it? Oh, Babyface is the go
the
fast
speed boost one.
So.
Yeah, when you shoot people, move fast. Yeah.
It didn't used to take. It didn't used to decrease the boost when you double jumped, did it?
I don't. God, I don't remember.
See, the place I'm coming from with TF2 is I last time I played it like seriously was probably more than 6 years ago. So I've got all this old like TF2 lore in my head.
Yeah, I can quickly TF2 baby face blaster. I can quickly pull up how they nerfed it. I don't remember what they did specifically. I have to check. It's been years since that changed too, so it's easily been like 6 years.
Right.
Yeah, 2015. So yeah, so they nerfed it from. So initially, the speed penalty was minus 35%, which made him really slow. So as fast as a demo man, to minus 10%, which still puts him faster than a medic or spy, I believe. And then they reduced the clip size from 6 to 4. And then they actually buffed it by making the boost only partially lost on air jumps instead of immediately removed by the double jump. And then they made it the same accuracy as the normal scattergun, and they removed the minus 30% damage penalty. So initially it was buffed really heavily.
Yeah, I remember it used to be like really, really good, and like everyone used it.
Yeah, and then they nerfed it 2 years later by making the boost, the reduction of boost on taking damage a lot more severe. and then also, or no, they added that. They added boost reduction on taking damage, which I think is a little iffy.
that's probably what I'm thinking of.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's how they nerfed it. That's right. Now I'm remembering. God, this was fucking 8
Right.
years ago when this happened.
right.
Yeah,
Jesus.
the game
Yeah.
has been in the same place for a minute.
Yeah. Yeah, and so they reduced the amount of boost you have taken away on damage, and then they increased the amount of boost lost on the air jump.
Gotcha.
So it was nerfed.
Yeah, because it used to be once you got up to speed, you could just kind of do whatever.
Yeah, it was pretty strong.
I would
anyway.
say in its current state, it's probably underpowered. I would probably agree.
Yeah, I think the biggest problem is that if you get sneezed on, you lose all your boost. I think they need to soften the penalty of taking damage and losing your boost. I think it's a little too severe.
Yeah, because like functionally, right, the weapon is really really fun. Like, or sorry, not fun. Conceptually, the weapon's really really fun. But like if you actually play it, it's just like sad because you just lose. You're never going as fast as you want to go, and you're just like,
And your speed is constantly changing. So
Yeah.
like it snowballs. The snowball gain and loss is really it makes you really jittery, and I don't like that. So
Makes it hard to predict when you're actually gonna have to left click to get your shot on.
honestly, you know what? I mean, this is probably a controversial way, and I feel like we're getting off track here. But I think a fun way to maybe try a different balancing aspect on this weapon is just remove the double jump entirely. Just make Scout
Could
only have a single jump, so he doesn't have to worry about double jumping. That's just gone. He can only have a single jump, and then and then I think remove the boost reduction on taking damage, and then see how that behaves.
I think it would be fun.
Yeah, like
kinda
if
stuck
you're
to the
gonna give
ground
him
a
more
lot.
if you're gonna give him more lateral mobility, punish
Yeah.
his vertical mobility. So
I'm down for that completely.
Yeah, I was just thinking like you just make it the kunai, but with speed, and every time you kill someone, you get speed. That was
Well, it's
just.
kind of like that because you get speed by
decay
hitting.
would be
people.
strange, wouldn't it?
Oh no, and I'm not saying you lose it over time. I'm just maybe like you have it for like a minute or something. I don't know. I was just
Like,
I was
okay, I see what you mean.
I was just thinking like I was just thinking like you could find a way in order to you could find a way to basically convert the kunai into a speed based weapon, and I think it'd be cool.
You could, yeah.
Or convert the baby faces blaster into the kunai. I know what I was saying.
Yeah, I see.
I'm
I
making
see what you're
sense.
saying. Yeah, that could work. See, then I feel like, no, maybe you're right. Yeah, that could work. It would merit testing, really.
Oh, for sure.
But I think that could work too. For me, I think the biggest pain in the ass is how easy it is to lose your boost, and then the snowball, the amount of the frequency at which you're changing speed is really annoying to use.
Yeah, agreed.
Because that also throws off your aim too. Because Scout mostly aims with movement, and so you get a shot and boom, you're at all the way up to what is it, like 175% speed, and then you get sneezed on, then boom, you're back down to 87. That fucks up your aim. So that's not fun to deal with in playing.
And
Scout.
you can predict the speed gain, but you can't really predict the loss.
No, you really can't.
Yeah.
It's sporadic, but almost always all of it gets taken away in one hit.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Which
Suddenly I'm a snail.
as if by magic, I have no legs.
It's just gone.
Yeah. Yeah. I think we can all agree that it should probably be buffed though, right?
Yeah, I think so.
We've received one more super chat from Wadadial, who says, I like the idea of Spy being able to run full speed on all disguises, but imagine if he could also shoot fake bullets with no damage to fool others.
That would be funny, at least.
Rubber
I
bullets?
think
Could you imagine if they did knockback? They do no damage, but they do like a small
Well,
amount.
I mean, I think that would be too much, because if you see a friendly soldier shoot you and then it does no damage to you, then that's like expected.
Yeah.
It's like, oh hey, this guy's that would be way too powerful of a thing to fool people with. Like Spy not being able to shoot as a class he's disguised as is a good thing.
What if it was some sort of side grade to the stock to size kit?
God, then what would be the downside?
can't reload.
You can no longer fake reload.
Just sacrifice your revolver entirely, like that becomes your revolver. Like every time you fire as the class you're disguised as, it shoots a fake bullet. I don't know.
That would be
Or how,
interesting.
have like a
actually,
50% damage penalty on the revolver. It would need to be a pretty severe downside. I think.
I like the idea that it replaces your revolver. I'm down to do that. I'm down to do that as long as we can keep it doing knockback. They do like the smallest amount of knockback possible, but the rubber bullets do like a really
That would
small amount of
suck.
knockback. It would be so
Oh,
funny.
man.
It would be really
Get, like, this little sneeze on you. It's like, what the fuck?
It's like,
that'd be weird.
is there a fly? You're moving like
Yeah.
a singular. What are they called in Source? The units of
Hammer units.
Hammer units.
Hammer,
yeah.
hammer
You move,
unit.
you move a singular hammer unit for every bullet.
Hammer units like 0.6. I think it's 6 millimeters.
Yes.
If I'm remembering correctly.
Very
something
small
like that.
amount. You shoot a rocket jumping soldier, they instantly fall.
Let me
No-
see what the exact unit of measurement
Gosh, that would be-
is, because it's gonna
that-
bother me if I don't know.
The rocket jumping
sorry,
soldier.
1.9 centimeters is one hammer unit.
That's
you
way
go.
that's much longer than what you said.
1.9? Why would they do that?
It's just the nature of how the engine is designed.
Why would they give it a 0.9 though?
I think because they did the metric of 1 foot is 16 hammer units.
Hmm.
Oh, it's feet, of course. Yeah.
Yeah, because
Makes sense.
America.
America.
I think that would be really bad. The rubber bullets on second thought, just because of rocket jumping soldiers. You just in their entire existence. They are not allowed to play the game anymore.
Yeah.
That's kind of the sad part. Although as funny as it would be, man. Now I'm
And
sad.
I almost launched into my tirade about why feet are good.
Oh, I thought you meant like
Why-
the body
dare
part.
you.
So out
No,
of
no,
context.
measurement.
Yeah.
out of context.
Can someone clip that and send that to me, please?
Just clip that.
No.
I need a clip of Alan saying that.
Like, I'll launch into my tirade about why feet are good. Oh, God.
Alan, if you could do a tier list of the human body, where are you putting feet?
I
No.
like body parts.
Yeah.
Oh,
They have to
no.
be up there, but not for like weird reasons to get your mind out of the gutter.
You need to get around, right? You need your feet.
Yeah, you need
Yeah.
to locomote.
Feet are kind of important. Are they more or less? I'm assuming your head is S tier, right?
The brain, and yeah, most
Kinda
of the
need
head
that to
is
live.
like up there. Yeah,
Hold on, let me- can I
that's
find-
most of the head.
Everything above the shoulders is kind of important.
Hold on, let me see if I can find a body part on tier.
Are we
list
counting
something.
organs like heart?
Here, let me grab this real quick.
We're getting nuanced here. Like,
Right.
we're like putting the eyes, the teeth, the tongue, things that would suck to live without.
Like some things you don't really need.
Human body systems.
Yeah, I mean,
no.
you don't need toes.
Human,
I mean, you don't need toes. They certainly help.
You gotta have flippers and you'd be fine, or like meat socks.
Meat sock.
I'm really trying right
This
now.
is fucked. This is
It's
so
yeah, no,
fucked.
it's getting a little
Oh,
more.
God.
I'm really trying
Not
to find a
morbid's not
body.
the right word.
I'm really trying to find a body parts tier list right now, and I'm really struggling.
I don't. We
Kind of
could be
surprised
the
to what.
first.
Like, is there not one on the tier list website?
I found. Oh, men's body parts might
Men's
be.
body parts.
Wait, let me look at this before I.
Specifically, men's body parts.
Oh yeah, no, this one I can't show this on stream. Yeah, it's not gonna work. There's human body fluids.
Okay.
Oh no.
That's terrible.
Oh
Yeah,
no.
I don't want to. They can't do this one on stream either. That's pretty bad. Human body systems. This one looks. You guys want to do the human body systems tier list before we close out?
Sure, why not?
Yeah.
Okay, so we got the typical S A B C D F tier lists. This
We
is
need
like
a
a
double
cursed.
S.
This is like a cursed version of the tier list that Zesty already does on his channel.
Huh.
Where are we putting the skeletal system?
Well,
Bones are very important. They
Yeah.
house and that's like S tier. You need your bones.
All right, we're putting the bones in S tier. The integumental system, I believe that's skin.
the what?
The integumental
Skin?
system.
Can we get a
That's your
fact
skin.
check?
Someone will look it up.
The integumental.
I thought it was called something else too, for the record. Oh
system. System integration. I don't think I found the right thing.
no.
I don't know. Assuming that's skin, the skin contains everything, so that would also be S.
Yeah, you need to maintain homeostasis.
Are we ordering the tiers?
ordering?
Is it more?
Okay, so S is like, I mean, all of our systems are critical for life, right?
No, that's not true.
Well, most of them.
Some of these are gonna go in F tier.
I think the skeleton goes above the skin because without the skeleton, you can't put anything on the
Just be a
skin.
meat pile.
I think
Yeah.
I'm gonna say it. I think that the integumental system could go lower because unlike the skeleton, if you lose some of your integumental system, you can like live.
Oh
Well,
yeah, you can
lose
replace.
some of your
Well, I mean, you can replace bones with titanium.
Yeah,
That's
but no, that's way more difficult than like skin grows itself.
Does science exist in this tier list, or is it more of like a
Like how
humans
how are we feeling at the time?
in their like humans 5,000 years ago? What was most
Oh.
important?
Someone also brought up a good point because bone, it has your marrow and it creates blood. Yeah, so
That's-
definitely.
no, yeah,
S
that's
tier
S
for
tier.
skeletal
I
system.
think that I
Yep.
think we could move the it's the integumentary system. I've been corrected in chat. The integumentary system could be a tier lower, I think.
We can do A. We can do A on
Yeah.
the skin.
I mean, it's still up there though.
all right. The reproductive system, specifically.
That's-
Skin also protects
sorry.
from like pathogens, right? It's like the major barrier between your body and things that can kill you that are like microscopic. So yeah,
I
skin is
love
very important. So
homeostasis.
A.
Yeah, we're keeping it an A.
So sex is S, obviously.
It
Otherwise,
it
humans
has
would
to
not
be
exist.
because
Humans
the
would not
only
exist.
No, okay.
Right?
Wait. I want to just let you know this tier list here has them separated. So there's the reproductive system male and the reproductive system female.
they're the same.
Ooh, we're gonna get. Oh yeah, we listen. Men and women are created equal in the eyes of God.
Okay.
So they are.
Wait,
both
what are
S
we? What are we ranking these on? Which one is most vital?
I don't
Or,
know.
like-
I just assumed it was how we were feeling at the time. If I'm being honest.
No, we need to establish an objective standard by which we are measuring things.
Okay, so I assume all of us here are heterosexual men, and if we are, obviously boobs and butts are great, and so they go in S.
Okay.
He has a
I
point.
don't think that either of those are part of the reproductive system.
That is true.
Listen, they are to me. All right, that's where they go.
Yeah, we could put them both in S. It's fine.
Yeah, they're both S tier and both equal. We have to specify this.
Can I get banned if I show? It's probably fine.
It's medical.
If it's a science, yeah,
information.
it's a scientific schematic. You're not gonna. Yeah,
Okay.
that's fine.
Yeah, I'm fine. The urinary system.
I mean, that's how you. Well,
Being incontinent is not fun.
no.
Yes, but unlike the skin, you can.
That's
Can.
like a
It could.
B, no.
It could not
B.
be functional.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
it
a
could
B
not be
tier.
functional, and it could still work.
Disposal of waste is very important. Put that in B tier.
Nervous system.
Oh God, that's all. That's fuck.
It's not that important. We're talking like touch and stuff, right?
Imagine losing your most important sense and being a vegetable.
No, like touch.
Would you rather?
Yeah, that's your
Okay.
nervous system.
No.
Touch is not your most important sense.
Excuse me? So try living without sensory input other than sight, hearing, and smell.
No, it's difficult, but surely sight is more valuable.
If you couldn't feel what you're interacting with, you can't feel your feet on the ground. You can't feel
you can
opening
see.
doors.
Okay,
would be-
hold on. You know we have like a sixth sense, right, where we can tell where our body parts are in relation to each other without looking.
No, I understand
that
that, but like,
affected or
if
no?
you can't, but if you can't even feel the amount of pressure, like your nervous system lets you know that your muscles are tensing and firing, right? So you can't even tell how much power you're putting into something.
Yeah,
can't-
but you
you
don't
won't be able to feel
necessarily
yourself.
need to be able to
You
tell.
won't be able to
you know?
feel yourself walking.
I don't know. I
can't
feel like
chew,
that
you
goes
can't
below
drink.
wherever we put vision.
And also your nervous system includes voluntary and involuntary nerve firing, so that would also include your heartbeat and your breathing.
Well, okay, wait, hold on. Maybe
So for the
technically,
record, the nervous system does include the brain.
Yeah, so
But I was
so
just-
that's
up
obviously
there.
S tier. Yeah, that's
yeah,
above.
so
the
nervous
skeleton.
system's S, I think.
Can we put it above both reproductive systems, please?
It's above
because without the
skeleton.
If we were
nervous
really
system,
being
it's not
objective,
real
these reproductive systems would be like D tier. Just letting you know.
No.
No. You need the nervous system to feel sex, therefore it's more important.
Oh, that's.
Is it below the skeleton? Seriously?
Uh.
Well, yeah, because without the skeleton, you're just a meat pile and you can't function at all.
Yeah, but
Yeah. I think they're
No.
probably equally important if I had to guess.
I think the brain is slightly more important than skeleton.
But would you be a meat pile in constant agony?
Who said anything about that?
Have you not seen Harry Potter? Where he has to take the bone growing juice because the idiot wizard removes his arm bones.
No, I just know I have no mouth, but I must scream. And I must scream?
I inherently disagree. I think skeleton is who'll be
Alright,
the
well-
tiebreaker here.
I
Lucid, you gotta be the tiebreaker for us.
I'll be the tie. I'm fine with this is hard. I think that the nervous system's slightly more important.
Yeah, because without
Fine.
that, you're not you.
Fine.
It controls individuality, and that's what puts it ahead for me. It's like what makes us human to an extent.
Major seaman in chat. Would you be a bile of flesh or a useless skeleton? He's still right for that.
I mean, yeah, I'd rather be a bile of flesh,
yeah,
I suppose.
guess ultimately it's consciousness that's the most important thing out of all this. So.
Yeah. Digestive system. I'm with D tier personally.
Yeah,
What?
because you have people that live entirely off Soylent and that don't care about eating.
I suppose. I was gonna put it.
That wasn't my reasoning.
I was gonna put it above waste disposal because you need to get things in order to get them out.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
I have a condition though, so I've been living with a broken digestive system for like 13 years. So I was just gonna go ahead and put in D tier out of spite.
That's
I
fine.
Yeah.
We will not hold that against you. I can't eat spicy food because it just destroys me and I bleed out the ass for a week, but I still eat it anyway.
Let's go. That's what
There
we're
are some
saying.
things- Some prices worth paying.
And absolutely. That
Absolutely.
Indian food, worth it.
100%.
Me with milk.
Whom asked in chat said low efficiency D tier, and I just thought that low efficiency. Respiratory system.
Pretty important. That's like A.
Yeah,
I think
That's
A
gotta
tier
be
is
A.
fine.
right below skin,
I agree.
It's below skin.
Immune system.
where it belongs.
Oh, without your immune system, your own body would destroy itself, wouldn't it?
I think that's at the end of A tier.
I think it could be in B tier.
It could be at the start of B tier.
I think-
That's,
I think
maybe
it's-
B tier because people survive with autoimmune disorders.
Yeah,
so
people live.
people live.
The cardiovascular system.
I mean, that's your heart. so-
Yeah, that's
That's
kind
up there.
that's kind of important. Are we putting it above or below reproductive systems?
Probably above.
Yeah,
Okay.
you gotta have blood to
As
make
much
those
as it
things work.
pains me.
You gotta have blood to make those things work.
You do too. That's
Yeah.
true.
Muscular system.
You need that to locomote.
You do.
I think it's less important than the urinary system, but more important than the digestive system. I'm fine with C tier.
I mean, because there are lanky motherfuckers that still get around. They're entirely tendon, so yeah, you can rate that pretty low.
Yeah.
Entirely tendons. That's terrifying.
I mean, I've seen some skinny people.
The lymphatic system.
It's on par with the immune system because that's part of like disposing bodily waste.
Oh yeah, because
and filtering your blood and then filtering shit
wait,
out.
but aren't your livers in there? Or is that the endocrine system?
I think it's the endocrine system.
Oh, okay. So the endocrine system is going in F tier then, right?
I guess. Fuck the liver. I like alcohol.
Yeah. No, you can like live without your liver. You don't need it.
Well,
No, you cannot live with.
Oh
your
no,
liver.
the kidneys are part of the endocrine system too, though. So I'm still right. Got him.
you
Yes.
can live without one. Can you live without kidneys?
No,
You can
cannot.
live without a
The hell
kidney.
is a kidney?
You can live without
The
a
kidney is what filters your blood.
I see. That's probably important.
I'm putting
If you didn't have kidneys, you would have to have dialysis like once every day.
Yeah.
So lymphatic system's B tier with the immune system then?
Yeah.
Okay. So going through the tier list real quick, we got the S tier is the nervous system, skeletal system, cardiovascular system, and both reproductive systems. Then we have the integumentary system in A tier, and the respiratory system in A tier, followed by the immune system, lymphatic system, and urinary system in B tier, muscular system in C tier, digestive system in D tier, and the endocrine system in F tier.
Yes, in reality, you kind of need all these things to live.
Yeah.
I think once again, reproductive system is the one you don't need to live. Just throwing it out there.
But then how does humanity go on?
Yeah.
Look,
You're not thinking long term.
I mean, you could do test tube babies.
we could. Hey, if that's the argument, we could put it in S tier and put everything else below it. We could have two tiers, and one of them is humanity, and the one is me.
I would be fine with that.
Yeah, and whichever one you order, that's up to you. Also, I'm posting this in Discord, so the overlay is gonna look a little bit fucked up. It's okay. Join the Discord, chat. Join the Discord.
Yeah, we have a Discord.
We have a Discord. Join the Discord. It's good Discord.
Also, like the stream because it makes YouTube happy.
Yes.
Don't feel bad to ask that of your audience, by the way.
I
Hey
will
guys,
I,
avoid
I had to
like
learn
and
that myself.
subscribe.
I will try not to feel bad. I've been doing my best to not feel bad.
Yeah, no funk cameo. That was interesting.
What?
No, like for a second there was a picture of Funk
What?
where we are.
Oh. Why? Oh, that's because... Oh, never mind. I remember why. Funk's jump scare. My bad, guys. I think that's the stream then.
That's it.
I think that's a good we have covered all of the various systems. I don't think Watotodial intended when he super chatted to get us to do a tier list of the bodily systems, but we did it anyways because that's just us. That's how cool we are. Yeah, so I think that we'll close it out. I'll announce whatever video we're doing next week. I have more stuff in the works, but I am going to be going to the US. So the future of this podcast hangs in the balance of if I can get free from stuff in order to in order to get through the in order to get to podcast next week. Also, hi Richter over time in chat. Fancy meeting you.
Hey,
and
Richter.
hey. I've also been watching your stuff for a while. That's weird as fuck. I haven't gotten used to meeting people that I've been watching for a really long time or like having contact with them. It's really weird. That's unrelated.
Oh, that's how I know him. I saw Realistic TF2 is weird.
Yeah. He makes.
Hey guys,
makes
everyone,
good videos.
go watch Realistic TF2 is weird.
Go his
Leave
video,
a like and subscribe.
His videos about the ARGs, Gmod ARGs or what? Yeah. Good YouTuber.
What built that man?
You built him? You made him?
No, I'm saying that's what built that man.
Oh, I thought you said. I thought you were like, I did it. It was
No,
me.
I didn't do that. It was all him.
It was
God,
me.
fucking. Dude,
I-
I met him when he was a fraction of my size, and my size, and now he's exploded past me and has over 200,000 subscribers. Every single one of them earned. So
Yeah. Good job.
Congratulations.
Hey Richter, it's good to see you. Okay. On that note, I will see you all some point in the future. Hopefully next Sunday. Oh, also, sorry, last announcement. There's a new video about the TF2 art style team recognition debate stuff that'll be coming out on my end Thursday. Hopefully, assuming that I can get 2 finals done and still finish everything. So yeah,
you can do it.
assuming that I don't get screwed over by college, that video should be out on the 14th.
Somebody.
So yeah, that all aside, I will see you guys all next time. We will see you guys all next time, hopefully next Sunday. See you guys all later, and bye-bye.